Bears are really fun to draw. I feel like when I did Safe and Sound, I held on to the bear one for a bit until I think I sold it. And then so I would say probably bears. Funny enough, growing up, my nickname was Osito. So that means little bear in Spanish,
Oh.
which I'm like, maybe that's why I gravitated towards it. It's time for
Doodle. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? It's a Wednesday afternoon. We have a special guest on named Loris Lora, who's going to be joining us in just a second. This is a sketch I'm going to be working on for the day. This is one that I passed up on a previous iteration, and I'm going to do it today. It's a series of a house going on vacation. It's a long story, but I'm going to invite our special guest in here in 1 second. Let me just throw this back in my face. Oh, there I am. Whoa. Let me zoom out a little. There we go. Get that a little bit better set up. My iPad is warming up. It's still circling. The little circle's going. So today, we're going to be chatting with Loris. As a reminder, I'm doing mentorships. If people are interested in mentorships, just reach out to me and let me know. You can DM me and I will send you the info. It's also in a post further back in my feed that's of a guy and his daughter working on a car. You should see it there, and it has all the prices and everything posted in that. Other than that, let's get our guest in here. I know last time I worked right up till the end, and so I want to make sure I don't do that this time. I don't want to push the time as further and further each time. So let me get our guest in here and we'll get started. Anything in the comments? And once my feed works, I'll try to keep an eye on it. I've hit accept on the request. I will also send it a different way to Loris and see if that works. We've had problems logging people in the last couple of times, and I don't know what the issue is, but we're going to see if we can get it this time. So, Loris, I have also sent you an invite. It should be there in your either DMs or it might just pop up. And let me know if you can log in accordingly. Or can't. Cross our fingers. Okay, I see something on my end. Let me try it again one more time. There's a chance I might need to. Oh, there we go. Got it. We got it.
So close.
We got it. I was worried there was another tech issue this time, but
no, I think my phone just had an issue because I don't think I had the microphone set up with Instagram, so I was like, I have to go into my settings and adjust that.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. We are very excited to have you on, the first guest of June. I had to think for a second there.
Yeah, we're already in June.
Yeah, I know it's already flown by. We're already into what my son and I were just talking about today, and I want real quick. This is a dumb question to start this thing off with.
No worries.
What is officially summer to you? Is it June, July, August? Is it July, August, September? Or what do you consider summer?
I don't know. I feel like when I was young, I would always think 4th of July on felt like summer, but now I'm like kind of that Memorial Day thing where it's after Memorial Day, it feels like summer. Okay. And also, being in Southern California, you get sunshine
you get summer all year round. That's no fair. No, it was one of those things where I don't even know why we discussed it. But anyways, side topic. So today we are going to chat. We're going to draw. We're going to talk. We're going to do all the things that we normally do on here. But I need some info from you right at the beginning. I need to know who you are and what you do.
Okay.
So let's start with that.
Sure. My name is Loris Lora. I'm an illustrator, designer, and now educator, which feels kind of odd to have that attached to my name, but been teaching at Art Center for about 1.5 years, Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, which is where I graduated from.
So you're haunting the halls again. Are you back in the same spaces?
It feels a little weird. I mean, when I was a student, we were at the Hillside campus, which was kind of near, well, in the hills, and you would see deer all the time. Now, some of the other campuses are more in the like downtown Pasadena area, so it's more city-like. So it's a little bit different, but still very much the same kind of ambiance, I guess, as far as like student life and seeing all the students super stressed out.
Do you work with anybody that was a teacher back in the day?
The department chair, like she knows me, and I know her, and then there's a few instructors that were my like people that I looked up to. That are a few of them are still around, so that's awesome to kind of bump into them when I see them.
That's always sort of exciting to sort of like get yourself up to that level where you're teaching with people that once taught you or like were your mentors or whatnot. But it's also like you get to see behind the curtain and realize that like they didn't know as much as they're just winging it like the rest of us in a way.
Right? It's like
just,
okay, it's okay to feel like you don't have everything
worked it out
ready.
Yeah.
But I try to be as prepared as possible,
yeah.
At least for my sanity and just anxiety.
So we're gonna make, and I have questions already lined up. I have standard questions, and then the topics can go any which way. It really just depends on where the conversation takes itself. But I want to be respectful of your time. And so at any point, if you need to jump off or anything of the sort, just holler. I won't be offended of any sort. I've had people leave after an hour. I've had people stay longer than I was going to stay. And I had to say, it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So just let me know on that sense. But today, before we get going, my wife upstairs documents stuff. She's the, I shouldn't put rabbit ears on it, but I'm going to producer of things. She helps organize a lot of this. And she keeps track of materials and sort of like what you're going to use essentially. So if you can relay some of that to us and then what you're going to make with it.
Sure. What should I start with? So I guess I could start with the sketch so that way you can see it. So this is a kind of miniature donkey sketch that it's been sitting on my iPad for a while, and I was like, oh, maybe I should work on that. But for my birthday over the winter, we went hiking with miniature donkeys. And so I felt super inspired by that trip that I'm like, oh, I need to draw this. So it's been sitting on my iPad for a while. And I was like, oh, I'll just work on that. But that's the sketch I'm going to work on. I'm going to be working with gouache. I use Winsor Newton gouache.
Okay.
I have a variety of synthetic brushes that I use. They're all pretty awesome. And I kind of treat gouache like watercolor because that's essentially what gouache is. It's opaque watercolor. Yeah. And then I have, let me see. I already pre-mixed a few colors, but I have my porcelain palettes, which is I'm using when I'm working with gouache. You can't see these right now, but I have 2 pails of water, paper towels, a spray bottle, and I think that's mostly it. If you see something that I haven't pointed out, then
let me ask about this surface that you paint on. What do you?
Oh, great. So
what do you normally use?
I'm holding this up, but I have Gator board, and right now I'm working with Arch's watercolor paper, and I trace down the image.
Every illustrator that works with watercolor paper, it's always Arches. There's no like, there's other brands I have heard of, but for the most part, everybody's just like, yeah, Arch is the one to go with. It's the highest quality and like the best paper and consistent in how it soaks up pigment and things of the sort. So, now I saw you teach gouache, right?
I'm teaching gouache this term for the very first time, so it's a little bit of a learning curve because usually I'm kind of just by myself painting, and so I'm like I had to like actually talk about what like the steps that I'm doing as I'm painting and like the reasoning behind, and sometimes like it just makes sense to me, but it's like trust the process.
It's like, why'd you do that? And you're like, I don't know, I just did. I'm surprised, honestly, that they have a class that's just a singular material like that. Like they also have like a watercolor class and an acrylic class. And
I don't know if they have a watercolor class, but they definitely have gouache techniques. Mainly because some of the entertainment students, like they'll do backgrounds for like TV or short film. I don't know, like like traditionally that's what they would use, right?
Yeah.
Like to
Yeah.
do
Okay.
all those background paintings. And but it's a class that's like a lot of just illustrators and people that are interested in children's book have kind of really wanted to dive into. So it's I have a mixture of students. So I have some entertainment students. I have more design-based students that are maybe interested in like storytelling and picture books.
And that happens in the fall, right?
I'm teaching it right now for the summer. So
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's a very new class to me. I'm planning as I go.
Okay. Okay. I forgot there's summer term at some schools. Our school barely can operate summer classes just because we're so small. But that idea of like, yeah, teach over the summer too. So today I do have to ask you a question about the donkeys because that's probably the most exciting news I've heard in a long time is that you can take a tour with or a walk or a hike, whatever, with miniature donkeys.
Yeah.
But we can get into that as we go along. So again, if internet is issues, if you need to jump off, anything of the sort, we will manage it as we go. It's meant to be casual.
Okay.
I see there's already even people asking S. Blumenthal saying, any plans for a Skillshare or online gouache course?
Um, Still thinking about that. I do definitely have been toying around with the idea of like some kind of workshop, but I'm not sure. Like I need to like get a little bit more kind of experience in the teaching aspect of
Yeah.
gouache to make that leap first. So
Yeah, this is the class will be your experiment, and then you'll
yeah,
figure it
yeah.
out from there.
You're gonna help me out with this one.
Yeah. So let's jump into our downshoot, and we can just start going from there. And I'll start asking questions. And I have a feed that let me see if I can get it up and running here. It's such an old iPad that it doesn't hold a charge, so it has to reboot every single time I come down to my studio. So I got to get it up and running. But let's hop in and see what we can get going. Oh no, what did I just do? There we go. I'm trying to get the feed up in the background, but the feed does allow me to sort of see what's happening and
Gotcha.
chat. And so it's a matter of it will just take a second for it to boot up. But why don't we get our downshoot so we can just start talking and going?
Okay, okay, so I'm gonna experiment with this.
Okay.
Oh, let me flip it.
So yeah, there's.
And I'm gonna kind of experiment with kind of adjusting the table.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. I will get to a feed where I can watch here in a second.
Okay.
And be able to tell you exactly sort of how it sets up. Yeah.
I'm just mainly trying to make sure my cord isn't in the shot.
Up there.
And then at some point, I might have to step out to let our puppy outside.
No worries. I have 2 dogs upstairs. I get it. It
Okay.
makes
So,
total sense.
because I can hear her barking. Is it okay if I just go take care of that for a
Yeah,
sec?
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm going to
Okay.
set up this feed and I'll get people going
Okay.
as we go along.
I'll be back in like 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, no worries, no rush. So for those that are tuning in, you can see on the downshoot here again what I'm doing, but I'll talk a little bit about mentorships that I'm doing, just so because it's fill the time basically. I am doing mentorships with people who are interested in doing kidlit and I guess a little bit beyond. If you are interested in setting that up with me, just DM me and I will send you the information accordingly that says, hey, why is this live not coming up here? Hold on a second. About pricing and things of the sort. Lauren, are you upstairs? This iPad is at 3% that I'm working with, everybody. I was talking with folks online as well about color choices, and I pulled a palette here. I'm going to see if I can get that to work. The iPad, I still can't figure out how to get it to log into.
Can you go to your, go in and then go to your profile?
Oh, I got to go to my profile.
Sometimes.
Okay, let me see if I can get it that way. Sorry, everybody. It's going to take a second here.
If you're logged in. someone else, right?
Yes.
Go to your.
Okay. I'm going to home. This is where everybody gets to see behind the scenes me trying to get the iPad set up.
Look up.
Okay, I'm back. If you
All
can hear
right.
my voice. Sorry
All
about
right. No
that.
worries. Is it a real young puppy that you have?
Yeah, she's just 6 months old. So
Ah,
she's a mini Australian Shepherd, so she gets anxiety sometimes.
a lot of energy in that one.
Yeah, for sure. And like yesterday, we had to go to the emergency vet because she got stung by a bee.
Oh no! Where'd you get stung?
Um, so she was let out in the pen, and I guess she's been chasing the bees a lot, and so I think that's what. Hang on, she's barking a lot. I think she sees something. I'm gonna try to close the door.
Okay, no worries. No worries.
No, she got stung. I believe it was a bee because it kind of got inflamed, and then the vet didn't seem too worried because by the time we met with him, he was just like, "It's already going down," so she'll be
Did you
fine.
get stung on the face or was it?
Her cheek was stung, so it makes me think that maybe she was trying to bite something or bite an.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been any insect, but she had some kind of reaction to it. But I feel like it was a bee.
Yeah. Did she balloon up like those things on or the pictures on Instagram of like dogs that
Oh,
got bit?
oh yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, when it first happened, it was like gigantic, and that was worrisome. And but then, by the time we met with the vet, it had already gone down substantially.
Um. So how long have you had the puppy then?
How long was that? Maybe a month or so. So we got her when she was about 6 to 8 weeks, I think.
Yes. So
We
she's
drove. Yeah,
she's young. She's very
yeah.
like
She's super young. She
and
just got.
and new.
Well, yeah, everything is new. Everything's exciting. Yeah.
Is this your first dog or is this?
This is our second dog. Our other dog, who was a border collie, he passed away last summer, and then it took a few months for us to kind of
Yeah.
get back into like, oh, maybe we should get another dog. And we saw her on Instagram posts, so we're like, oh, let's go meet her. And of course, we fell in love.
Yeah. It's how could you not, right? It's
Yeah,
gonna. That's the challenge of anytime you start looking at those dogs online of what's available. It's
yeah,
you start not only that, but you start compromising fairly quick. You're like, yeah, we could deal with a dog with special needs, or yeah, the dog that has no legs, we're in it, and then all of a sudden you're sold on those pets very quickly. Um, with okay, so I got to ask you about these. I got to ask you about these donkeys, these baby
oh,
donkeys,
sure.
because this is like news to me that this is actually a thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And I'm all about that. I love goats and like miniature donkeys is right in that mix. Um, did they? You just walked beside them. You didn't like ride on
No,
them.
no. Yeah, no, you don't ride them. You just kind of walk them like a slow paced walk with the donkeys. This was out in Yucca Valley, so very close to Joshua Tree.
Okay.
And I guess the owners kind of have that this is their business venture on the side of just loving and caring for the donkeys. And they offer like um, what's it like evening sunset walks or early morning. We ended up doing the early morning one, and that was
So
really fun.
is this like just a way for them to get their donkeys exercise?
I think so.
And
Yeah,
people are just it's sort of like you can go to the
to their like ranch is
yeah, or
essentially.
like you go to the what is the SPCA um, and walk dogs that need adopting just because they need someone to walk the dogs. You can go do that, and they're happy for it. I assume it's the same thing with these donkeys.
Maybe so. It seems they're definitely the woman's personal donkeys, and she loves and cares for them a lot. You can tell.
Yeah.
So, definitely, like I got good vibes from them as far as like all
Did
that.
they
But
did they have anything on them? Were they hauling anything for you, like a
no,
picnic
they just had
basket or
a
anything?
harness, and I think the most was like a decorative bandana or something. So that's why.
Oh, so it really is for pleasure for them. It's not
Yeah,
not a service animal. That's awesome. I want to do
yeah.
that.
It's really cool. Yeah, I found out about it, and I was like, oh, that I think this is what I want to do for my birthday. So I was like,
What was?
and,
Do you remember what your donkey's name was?
so I had one. I think it was. So I switched off a few times. I think I had the smallest one, which I think the name was Wolfie, and then I might have switched with. Oh gosh, I can't remember the last one. Oh, I think Red Wing was the other one. They have really cool names.
The idea of like it sounds. I don't know what to expect with a donkey's name.
Yeah,
I don't know what to expect
yeah. I
with
mean,
that. But
they're
like,
really strong and like if you kind of the woman, she's like if they can get away with getting like snacks and things off the side of the path, and they can kind of manipulate you into kind of getting their way essentially. So you have to be a little bit more be a little strict when it comes to that stuff.
interesting. Okay. And was out of curiosity. Now I don't live in the Pasadena area, so I don't know how much. Like
Oh,
I don't know the cost of living and that kind of stuff out there. But was it expensive to do this,
um,
or was it like?
it was kind of a little bit on the expensive side. I want to say between $250 to $400 for like a 2 hour thing, and you can invite up to 6 people, I think. So it wasn't bad, but
That's not bad. Yeah, if
yeah,
that covers everybody, that's not bad at all.
yeah, and so it just depends on how big your group is, and yeah,
Yeah.
but I was
How
like,
much donkey time you want? Yeah.
yeah, basically. So I don't know if anybody knows, but I was wetting my my illustration right now because sometimes I like getting that watery wash feel to it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. That's why it looks like I'm like painting transparent stuff on it. But yeah.
Is the so with Gouache, out of curiosity, and this is just something we're in. Um, I used to work with traditional gouache on a regular basis, but I shifted away from it because of a project need, and then sort of it was basically I needed to do a lot of edits and working back into gouache is you pick up the pigment and things of the sort. But with your work for a lot of the books, I always think of it as being digital for some reason. Like you get a
Um,
really smooth gouache if you're using gouache on it.
yeah, I do for my book projects, I feel like it's 50-50 when it comes to book projects. Like my last book, the Frida Kahlo Flower Crown book, that was all done in gouache. Whereas like there's been other projects due to time restraint that I went digital, but I incorporate gouache textures or find brushes that kind of have the same
Yeah,
um, kind of feel
feel
to
to it.
gouache.
Is the AOC book? Is
That
it
one is digital. So, but I
okay?
probably did incorporate very few gouache textures and things like that. But I feel like that one's mostly digital just because of the time restraint on that one.
Wait, what was the when you say time
Oh,
restraint, meaning that you
time
had?
restraint, like the deadline was like they wanted that one, that book I probably finished within an, I want to say 8 month period, and that's including sketches. So I was like, oh, I need to work fast for this one.
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
when it comes to gouache, I kind of do take my time because it's part of the process of just kind of letting it do its thing.
Now, when you were in school, did you learn all the other materials? And gouache was the one? Was that something that
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
you found
actually, yeah,
later?
I took a gouache techniques class, the same, the one that I'm teaching actually. And yeah, full circle there. And just 1 second, I think she's trying to get in. Um, yeah, I took a gouache techniques class, and I kind of fell in love with the medium after like learning about Mary Blair and like the Allison Martin Probinson and Charlie Harper, and just I really fell in love with how they used it in a very kind of graphic, bold, colorful way, and so
Yeah,
that kind of got me really interested into gouache.
that's with especially with Winsor Newton in particular. They call it, I think they call it designer's gouache, and so
Yeah.
it is like it's not as much of a painter's thing. And the way that I was sort of taught when I was in school, and I could be wrong, but I remember some teacher telling us that sort of traditional gum arabic based gouache was intended to be very, very flat and, no brush strokes and whatnot, which I don't necessarily agree with is the intention now by a lot
Yeah.
of people. But the idea was that if you had to design a poster, that you wanted to get a perfectly flat color for reproduction purposes because the Photoshop wasn't around or things of the sort. And so by having something that was very like finite color mixing and flat and not adding a sheen and all these things was sort of made it a much friendlier medium to designers in particular. And then of course eventually we all go, you know what, I want to paint with it and do other things, and we start to mix and match. But um, was it always the medium for you? Was it like
It was definitely one that I like gravitated the most. I think when I went into art center and just entering art center, I was like, oh, I love oil paint. So I started off really liking oil paints, but then I started shifting because I was like, oh, I don't really like the cleanup and all the toxins associated with oil painting.
yeah
And with gouache, I'm able to kind of work at a home studio, whereas I feel like oil painting is of different.
yeah you got to have ventilation. You got to
Oh
be
yeah, definitely.
serious about
Um,
the amount of chemicals that I probably got in my system when I was younger because I
yeah,
didn't know about what I was supposed to do.
yeah.
Excuse me. So take me back a little bit to sort of early you. Sort of what got you, because now you're in this world of kidlit, obviously,
Yeah.
and I know that you have history in a couple of other sort of markets like design and things of the sort. But what sort of sparked your interest in art when you were little? Was there a teacher, a class, a book? What was it that sort of
Uh, uh,
jumped out to you at that point?
Definitely just like doodling. I was very fortunate to have teachers that just really encourage the drawing aspect. So I thank them for being so motivating and just like not telling me that I can't do it. So that's definitely one of them. And just being interested. I mean, even through high school, I feel like I just like drawing and like I took art class and that's where I was introduced to oil paints. Gravitated towards that, and then into community college, I continued just taking as many art classes as I can, just because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And
Yeah.
so it was that there was an instructor that who had graduated from Art Center College of Design who um, kind of taught his students that it's like, oh, there's all these possibilities in illustration, and the way to go about that is by going to art school. And obviously that planted the seed. And I applied to Art Center, got in, and then yeah, just kind of started taking lots of classes and found that I really liked gouache, and then also like design design based projects like posters and editorials projects. And I also took a children's book illustration class that was awesome, that really made me really interested in children's books.
Now,
So
did you know initially though that illustration was the thing that you wanted to go for, or was that something that like with
no,
that you're mentioning, hey, this is this field called illustration, you can go to the school for it. Was that
yeah,
something that you knew at the time, like, yes, I want to go for illustration, or was that more of a decision once you got to the school itself?
definitely. I feel like that conversation got brought up like in community college, because even in community college, I wasn't really aware of what illustration was. But then taking an illustration class at in community college kind of was like an eye opening as to seeing all the different um, possibilities and types of projects you can encounter as an illustrator.
Yeah. Did
So
you with the idea of you know going it well, let me ask it, were you born or lived at a young age in the Pasadena, sort of like where you are now?
oh, I'm not in Pasadena. So I'm just outside of Los Angeles, about an hour away,
Oh, okay.
in Riverside. So it's yeah, an hour away from Los Angeles. So my commute on my teaching days is an hour or so, but it's kind of nice because I'm like an hour away from like a major city, an hour away from the desert, an hour away from the mountains. So it's kind of a fun situation to be in.
Yeah,
But
you a little sampling of everything.
yeah. So that's why
Story.
the miniature donkey thing was possible because I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm not that far from the high desert.
and then so but you grew up in that area of like Southern California.
Yeah, Southern California. Yeah, I always
Yeah.
say Southern California. I feel like that's easier for people to grasp. It's like, oh, okay, I kind of get an
Yeah,
idea.
all I know about Southern California for the most part is that San Diego's down there,
Yeah.
and that's about all you get out of me at this point. It's my understanding of maps uh,
Yeah.
is not great when it comes to that kind of stuff. Um, and so, you're growing up in that area. You find out that there's art school, and that you have a vested interest in art. Was there any like other options at the time? Was family there supporting you, going, "Hey, you know what? We really want you to be a
Yeah.
illustrator," or were they in the background going, "No,
I
no, no"?
don't. I feel like they supported the like my artistic skill, but like even they were kind of like they didn't understand going into an art field. So I think once I like started getting projects, they kind of understood a little bit.
Yeah,
Both my parents are from Mexico, so and they're immigrants. So a lot of that conversation or the thought of going into art school was different than what they probably understood at the time.
yeah. Now do they still have questions about it? And that,
Um, I think they see the published books, and I think it makes sense now,
okay,
which is kind of nice. But they see the work, and I think they think I'm doing okay.
okay. I like my parents were very business oriented people, and so like saying I'm going to art school on paper sounds, sort of makes sense to them, but I still don't think they fully understand or grasp everything that I have to do for it. I think they understand I make artwork, but all the like the stuff that's on the side, all the business and all the like promotion and all that kind of stuff, I don't know if they understand exactly what all that means at
Yeah.
this point. Nor do I expect them to. They're, you know,
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same mindset where it's just like I think yeah, if they can get this like surface level, but it's like I don't think they would understand like everything else, and
yeah.
that's okay.
I still to this day remember that when I got out of school, my grandparents on my father's side kept asking me, and they were old at the time, like real old, but they kept asking me if I was going to illustrate Cheerios boxes.
Oh,
I don't know where they got that idea in their head that somehow that Cheerios boxes were illustrated,
oh, I
because
guess.
at that time they were all photographs, so it wasn't like there
Okay.
wasn't. It's not like you were illustrating like a Fruit Loops box of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. The
But
only
that was.
thing.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Oh no, I was gonna say when you said cereal boxes, it made me think of Alison Martin Provence's Tony the Tiger, which I'm like, oh, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, there's someone does it, but it's like not on a
Yeah.
regular basis, and they kept like they never said, "Are you going to illustrate a cereal box?" It was always, "Are you going to illustrate a Cheerios box?" And so they had some affinity for, maybe they had stock in Cheerios and I just didn't know it, and they kept trying
Yeah, that's
to.
funny.
And so like I don't know as they ever got it, but they were also old and a totally different generation. So I'm not going to hold it against them. I still loved them anyways. Let's put it that way. They had a lot of idiosyncrasies though at the end. Um, so you when you got out of school, did you have? Because I know that you have a variety of different sort of skills and um, uh, markets that you've played in. But was it primarily Kidlit that just like was the star, that
Um,
main focus, or did
I
it come that over time?
I think it first started. Well, actually, I should back up a little bit. So while I was in school, I had this project that I created, like it's almost like my scene, like I guess it's called a term, but I guess you would call it like almost like a senior project. It might have been a little bit earlier than that, but I created this project that eventually turned into a book with No Brow Press.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that kind of helped kind of kickstart my career as an illustrator, and so that was really cool to see that happen. Essentially, what happened, we pitched a few ideas, like as a class. There was a study abroad program that went to London, and we were able to pitch projects to somebody like No Brow Press, and I ended up getting a call from them a month after the trip, and they were interested in making that project. It was a poster into a full-on book. So that was kind of nice to have that going as a student and work on it during that time as well. So I got a little bit of the professional life during school, if that makes sense.
Did it make everybody else jealous?
I don't know about that, but I don't know.
Did your tires get slashed while you were at school? Is the question.
No, I don't. At least I don't think so. No, it was really cool because like instructors were very encouraging. I think other students were probably psyched too. I mean, I think it just gives people a sense of like, oh, like you can be creating projects as a student.
Yeah.
So maybe there's that, but I don't remember anybody being negative about it.
Okay, good. Good. When I was in school, I was one of the, like I wasn't getting work primarily while I was in school, but I was one of those students who never had a wet painting. I never had to pull an all-nighter, essentially.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know that there were people that were annoyed with me because I always had there were times where I'd bring in like 3 different versions of an assignment for crit.
Oh, wow.
People would be annoyed that I did that, essentially.
That's pretty awesome.
It is, unless you're that other person who thinks that someone's showing off of some sort. And I wouldn't say the work was any good. I just had 3 different versions.
I see.
Like, looking back at it, let's put it that way, it was not beautiful. So you land that thing with No Brow. Which book was that you got with No Brow?
It was eventually Everything Connects. It was focused on California mid-century design, and it was a Leoparello, which kind of like an accordion fold, and it was just one double-sided panoramic illustration of like mid-century California, like basically during the 50s, I guess you would say. So yeah, that was really exciting, and that whole project was done in gouache too. So that was a lot.
I mean, No Brow does some really artsy, fun things, and like I know them from not just No Brow, but from like Flying Eye Press and all the different versions.
Oh yeah, they're yeah. Is it? Oh yeah, because now they have the Flying Eye books, which is their children's book imprint.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 10, 12 years ago, they were making some of those like coffee table books, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I have some weird comics and stuff from them. Like they made a variety of different books at that time. So that book that you made wasn't necessarily for kids, or was it?
I feel like it was for an older audience. I mean,
okay.
It felt more coffee table, to be honest. But that was kind of the cool thing about it. It did get nominated for a Will Eisner Award, which is kind of cool to kind of.
For your first book?
Yeah. Which I was like, that's awesome.
That's pretty darn special to have that happen.
Yeah.
With going through that while you were in school, I assume that the instructors and everybody was there to sort of help walk you through the process of what you got to do and what to watch out for.
Definitely. I definitely relied on a few awesome instructors to kind of help guide as far as like how to work with the client and kind of all that jazz.
So let me ask you this question. This is sort of tangentially related, but one of the things I ask people about oftentimes is what it's like to get their first book back in the mail and things of the sort. And, for the most part, it's the first time someone's been published. but oftentimes that is also when someone's out of school. And so there's this idea of like the long haul of trying to land something, and then finally it comes through and you get this book, and there's this, potentially a reward in seeing that come through. But when you're in school and you have that happen, did it come out while you were in school, or was that?
It came out once I graduated, probably like either half a year or a year after graduating,
Okay.
which was it was cool to go through that. And at the same time, while it was coming out, I was kind of reaching out to art directors for editorial work, because I do like doing editorial work. I like kind of working that side of my brain where you're doing more conceptual
Yeah.
ideas and things like of that nature.
Well, one of the things I was going to ask is just that idea of like, once you got your first gig outside of school, did it feel as like, was there a sense of reward? Was it, oh man, this is old hat because I've already done this before? Like what was your reaction to seeing your work printed thereafter,
Oh,
if you did something while you were in school?
yeah, I mean, it was an awesome feeling. Just I would never have, like, little Loris in elementary school, even in college, would have never thought to be a published author illustrator. So that's nuts.
Yeah. And then when you got out, was it I hear all these tales from lots of folks of just the struggle
Oh
of
gosh,
trying
yes.
to get out there. Was it that book came out and then there was a delay, or was there a sort of immediate turn towards more books coming out right after the fact? Like what was the post school like for you?
It's definitely a struggle. I think I got fortunate that I got to work with one of my instructors, Brian Ray, as a studio assistant for like a project that he had going. So it was nice to have that going, and as well as trying to keep up with editorial work, and also just writing the first book launch, I guess. After that first book, I did another book with No Brow, which was Safe and Sound, which is kind of all these animals and their parents. Yeah,
Yep.
that one. And that one was really fun to work on too, because I got to work in gouache for that one as well.
So I see there is a question here in the comments that I want to make sure I get to.
Oh, sure.
How much, so I assume this is towards you, but we can both answer, I guess. How much do you recommend being represented instead of staying freelance? And so, that let's pull that back a second and talk about sort of, were you repped at the time when some of those books were coming out, or?
No, I
So,
wasn't. Oh,
okay.
Sorry about that. So I didn't get repped until maybe, I want to say 5 years after graduating. So the first 5 years I was doing everything myself. And I feel like everybody should kind of have a little bit of that skill set to kind of understand the business side of it and
Yes.
what is involved in doing things yourself. I will say, like, after getting a rep, it's nice to have, like, let them deal with contracts. Contracts is a big one for me, because I like talking money and just and knowing all the different types of rights that you are giving away is something I'm not good at. So
you mean you don't care about your like sales rack percentages the same way that an agent does, or I forget what those are, like off sales, like all those weird terms that are in the bottom of the contract.
Yeah, that's all so confusing to me. So it's nice to kind of have somebody look after you on that regard.
Yeah.
And just kind of focus on the illustration part.
I mean, I don't even know if this is the same for you, but you mentioned that idea of like, you think it's good that everybody sort of delves into that a little bit. And I absolutely agree, but I'm also of the mindset that even if you have an agent, that does not mean that you are not having to stay on top of your freelance career.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're still doing a lot of things. It's just it frees you up in certain areas. Yeah. Like you still have to,
it's sort
organize yourself.
Yeah, it becomes in my mind sort of like an advisory role, or that they take on, or you know, they're there to support you and promote you and a network and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
if you just rely solely on them, I don't think that's gonna work of any sort. You have to be out there and giving and all that kind of stuff along the way. So when did Agent come about for you then?
Um, no, so it was, I want to, like, I might be wrong on this, but I want to say it like around year 5 after graduating. She's actually reps one of my, well, I'd say instructors, but after 5 years, it's like now friend. She repped an instructor at Art Center, and like I got introduced to her, and like we hit it off, and so she's kind of been my rep since then. But she's an art rep that kind of focuses on just illustration, like in a broader sense, and she also handles my children's books projects as well. So
I know that I wrote it down in the, like, I tagged your agent, but I'm drawing a blank right now.
my agent's name?
Yeah.
Oh, Sally Heflin. So Heflin Reps.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, for some reason, in my mind, it was like on the tip of my tongue, but I just couldn't remember. I was like, starts with an H, and that's all I can.
Yeah. No, she's awesome, always very knowledgeable, and just understands what illustrators go through.
And how long have you been with Heflin Reps at this point?
Maybe 6 years, maybe a little bit more. I feel like I've lost track of time.
Yeah.
So,
when did you enter? And I'm not trying to nail down age or anything of the sort, but when did you enter the kidlit market then?
Well, I guess that Safe and Sound one was very much for children or like a younger audience. So
yeah.
that was definitely like the first kids book that I worked on. I feel like the first book doesn't count as a kids book because it feels more coffee table. But I worked on Safe and Sound, and after that one, it was One Day, So Many Ways, which was another book that I illustrated in gouache. And that was that. I think I painted over like 300 small illustrations or so. It was something really ridiculous, and I'm like, maybe I should bring my gouache technique into the digital style instead, just so I can get through illustrations a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so you're not burning the candle at both ends on a regular basis.
Yeah, because it could really burn you out. Yeah.
Oh yes, especially if you're having to mix colors and match, and all that fun stuff can be a nightmare. With the idea of, you know, I'm watching the gouache making that you're doing here. And there's another question here that I'll get to in a second. I do want, maybe after this question, you could give us a little sort of walkthrough of thought process to practice for school, for those, you know, teaching those classes. But the idea of like how you're layering or the choices that you're making, because I think I get some of it, but here's sort of your thought process. But the question that I see here, and it's a very probably simple thing, which is, what's your favorite animal to paint?
Oh, that's a good question.
You gotta have one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what was the last animal I painted. Bears are really fun to draw. I feel like when I did Safe and Sound, I held on to the bear one for a bit until I think I sold it. And then so I would say probably bears. Funny enough, growing up, my nickname was Osito, so that means little bear in Spanish. Aww. Which I'm like, maybe that's why I gravitated towards it. Snakes are really fun to draw too. There's something really fun about just kind of making them like just curvy and whatnot. Obviously,
I get bears because that's in my wheelhouse, but snakes I would not put in there in the upper echelon of like
probably
what
not.
I like to draw. But I get it. I understand that can be someone's favorite thing. Like, I feel like this is going to sound weird. There's not enough meat on the bone on a snake. Like, I feel like there's not enough like width to them to do a lot of fancy things. But of course, I'm probably underthinking or undervaluing the shape of a snake in this. So walk through a little bit of your process.
Oh yeah.
Right now you put down that yellow, and then you're going back in and doing the
So it actually came out a lot lighter than what I wanted it to, but I was like, that's fine. I'll go with the color. So I mixed in this linen green with a little bit of burnt sienna, hoping to kind of make it a little bit more earthy, but it still looks a little yellow, which I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I laid out that first color. It's pretty much almost dry. I could touch it and it feels a little cool.
Yep.
So I painted a whole wash in that just around the donkey, and now I'm doing the kind of Joshua tree plants around it. I have a sketch that I'm basing it off of, and I'm trying to stick as close as I can, but I feel like it's kind of morphing into something else. So I'm laying down all the Joshua tree shapes, and then I'm going to do the cholla cacti around it afterwards. But with gouache, you want to work from the background to the foreground. So that's basically my process. And I'm using a thinner brush for some of these line works because it's like I have a little bit more control, whereas a thicker one would be like make it really wonky, I think.
I mean, that's one of the questions I was going to ask. And again, I know some of this already from my personal experience, but for those who have never worked with the medium, there is a order that makes sense to work in with this kind of stuff. And it's same thing with like me doing collage. Like I can't just put, it's easier to put down the big shape and then add the details after the fact versus details first and then have to work around it with cut paper. And same thing with gouache, that idea of, stacking and layering. Have you seen the footage of Eyvind Earle doing, I forget what movie, I want to say it was like Sleeping Beauty, or maybe it was Cinderella or something like that he did backgrounds for.
Yeah.
And he does that same thing where he starts with the dark layer and then builds up his highlights on top, but it's that
Oh
same
yeah,
process of like you have to pre-think what's the best order to put stuff down in.
definitely. And I usually do a digital color study for myself just to kind of get an idea of how I'm laying out the colors. It's probably better to do it in gouache because then you get a sense of like the color mixing. But usually digital for me works pretty well. But yeah, those Eyvind Earle videos of him painting like the trees where it's just a
Yep.
black shape, and then he goes into with the bark, and then he starts bringing out some of the leaves and other plants. It's
If
so
people are,
amazing.
you can find it on YouTube, and it's just Eyvind is spelt weird. It's Eyvind and then Earle, I think. If my spelling is correct, but it's him and some other Disney artists going out and painting a tree eventually at the end. They all paint their version of a tree. But he walks you through his process, and if you're trying to understand how to work with gouache, it is spot
Yeah,
on.
it's so and the mixture of just dry brushing in there too. It's so good.
So I see there's a question here. I'm seeing lots of questions already, which is
Oh,
great.
cool.
So the next question, this is from Sam Kimbrell as well, is
Oh,
what's your favorite musician to listen to while painting?
funny.
Is that
No, it changes a lot.
okay?
I can so I feel like recently, or maybe I just got out of it, but I was listening to a lot of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Okay.
So that was kind of fun to have this like dark music, but also be painting really fun, cute animals and other children-like stuff. I don't know.
I was gonna say
So
that's
that's fun.
music. That's not a like light fare.
No, it's not, but it's like there's something kind of fun about. I don't know. It just kind of works, but it changes all the time. And then like recently, I got back into Paul McCartney and stuff like that. So it changes. So I'll go through a Beatles phase again, and just
Now,
or
wait, since you said Paul McCartney, this is my controversial take here. And I have to give context. I think I'm a bigger Wings fan than I am a Beatles fan.
oh,
And
okay.
I know most people are going to go, "How dare you? That's sacrilege." And a lot of it is because of a specific, like Wings' greatest hits when I was little, that we used to play it in the house because of a couple of songs. So I have this like nostalgia factor that goes with it, differently than the Beatles. But I'm a Paul fan over a John or um, oh no,
Wait, what's that?
what?
Oh no, sorry. I was just saying. Oh, I didn't say. Oh no, I said. Oh.
No, but John Paul, Ringo, and Who's the other one?
George.
George, thank you. I completely flatlined in my brain who I was talking about. And so, like, when you say Paul McCartney fan, I assume you're talking Beatles era McCartney, or are you talking Wings?
I was talking. Was it wait? So I'm not as well versed as like how they kind of morphed into their single stuff, but it was like, is Ram considered? No, Ram's just Paul McCartney. It's not. Is it
It might be.
Wings?
Yeah, well, he also did solo too, so it wasn't just.
Okay, so maybe it was
Yeah.
the solo one.
Okay.
Because I've been listening to the Ram album the most. I think there's something really relaxing about that one.
Um,
Um,
there is a follow up question here that someone uh, asked, which is, do you have any self care hacks for taking care of your hands, headaches, back pain, and all those things that artists struggle with? And this is from
um,
Cassette Illustrator. So, as a painter, as someone who works, and I'm doing the same thing, like I hover over
oh my
over
gosh.
work and try to paint. I know to me this is a question out of left field, but it's a good question because people don't talk about it all that often.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have really bad posture, so if I actually stand, sometimes I have to remind myself to kind of not hunch. So that's something that's in progress. I'm trying to get back into running so that way I can kind of like stretch my body a little bit
Yeah.
more. As far as hands, because when I work and wash heavily, like I have to like constantly wash my hands, which means I need to moisturize a lot. So definitely like have
But
lotion nearby
wait,
afterwards.
wait a second though. So if you're moisturizing, this is like real art talk here for a second.
Okay.
You're moisturizing, but one of the things about gouache that's so lovely is that sort of matte finish.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like afterwards, like once you're
Oh,
done
okay.
with the process, because
Oh,
like
yeah.
my hands will like right now they're feeling really dry, and like after this I'll wash my hands and just remember to put like lotion and things like that because my hands always dry out so easily.
It's one
So
of those things where like I always worry about, that's like the first thing I worry about with gouache most of the time is just maintaining that matte finish if I want it
oh
to be there.
definitely.
And the more that I, mess with the material, the more shine, or like erasing it sometimes can, like in some
Oh
gouache
yeah.
can add a texture that you don't want or a sheen that you don't want,
Mhm.
of sorts. So, yeah, as long as
No,
it's
definitely.
lotioning after, then I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. I can probably be better about just kind of some of that self-care stuff because I don't notice it till once I'm done with the big project where it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
should probably take care of myself a little bit better.
Yeah. Or you feel the aches and pains after you stand up. That's
Oh
my,
yeah,
I
it's
know.
the upper back for me. It's like,
Oh,
oh,
it's lower back for me. It's back for illustrators. It's
yeah,
every back as an illustrator.
yeah. Like I have an okay computer chair, but like one thing that I remember in art center, they're like, if you have to invest in something, make sure you get a good chair, like one of those ergonomic chairs. I think that's what you say.
Yeah, the ergonomic. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, so noted. Luckily, I kind of just inherited one from my boyfriend's old office building. Kind of nice.
So
But
let me ask another sort of follow up question, which is the idea of like your workspace. I know you mentioned you had all those different things on the side, like paper towels and different water dishes,
oh yeah,
sort. But this is coming from someone who, my studio's a mess, but I will say there is an order to the mess. Like,
oh
um, when I talk to about it, I tell them about, I don't want you just putting your paint palette down on the side and calling it a day. Like, consider you're gonna mix your paint, you're gonna get water on your brush, you're gonna carry it across things. Do you want to put, like, I'll see people who put their paint on one side and their water dish on the other side of their artwork, and I'm like, well, you're just risking getting drops left all over your piece, because you're not thinking ahead and saying, oh, let me make sure that the water and the paint are on the same side. Um, and so, like,
yeah,
is there an order to your madness of what you put down and where in your space?
yeah. Well, right now, you can't see it, but I have my two water containers. They're just glass jars. Um, at the upper right, and I have a one of those. I guess it's the tin trays. They're usually
The butcher's trays.
yeah, the butcher trays. So those are sitting on top. Um, of that. So if they happen to get knocked over, it at least falls into this tray. And I right next to it is the palette, and I'm just kind of going upward to get my paint. But this is a new setup for me because I usually have my Cintiq here, and so I moved it today. And I was like, I'm gonna paint, so I need like desk space for myself.
I know
So,
it's a silly thing to ask, but I do think that does make a difference of like the setup on a space is very
oh, definitely.
special to an artist of what feels right and what feels wrong in those situations. With now, again, I'm gonna play an idiot here, and I'm gonna say, why do you have two water dishes?
Yeah, no worries. My students asked me the same thing last week. So I have one to kind of get rid of all the excess like paint. And then once I've kind of swished it around a little bit, I move on to the next one to get rid of the extra amounts. And that way I make sure that my brush is absolutely clean before going back into the gouache with a different color, especially when you're going in with white. Like you don't want like to have green mixed with your white.
Yeah,
if your brush is super dirty. So it's almost like you like step one, getting rid of the paint, and then step two, getting rid of the extra paint that might be lingering within your brush.
A pre-rinse. It's your pre-rinsing in that first one.
Yeah.
No, it's I've had the same thing. Like I always, and I don't know, now that you're teaching, especially in that class, I bet you're seeing students come in with the tiny little bits of water to mix their paints. Like, or at least I end up with that where it's like someone will bring in like a Dixie cup, and it's
oh
like,
my gosh, I haven't seen that. So this is week 2. So this week I'll be actually seeing them paint. Like so far I've been showing demos on certain things. So like, but this week I should be seeing like actual like paint on their sketches essentially because I had sketches due last week for their first project.
So do you know if any of them have worked with gouache before?
A few might have dabbled in it, but I would say for most of them, it's definitely an introduction course to it. And with gouache, it's like, if you don't have a lot of the stuff, it can be a very expensive medium. So I try to make it as simple as possible, but it's like just at least get yourself some good brushes, a palette, and like this set of paints. And then you can add on as you go, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you, this is the teacher in me, because I've been teaching for a long, long time, but the idea of when you require materials, are you requiring a specific gouache paint?
So I told them Winsor Newton. My second favorite is Holbein. So I even told them like I sometimes have like a few Holbein tubes that I mix with the Winsor Newton. So I try to get them to stay within that one because I feel like maybe a lesser grade might not give you the results you want. I don't know.
That was my problem. Is I had students that would try to buy the cheapest gouache paint they could, and then it would be like transparent, and it wouldn't. They had no opacity, or it would take way too many layers to cover up things if they needed to and whatnot. And so that's what I was asking about. Like, are you requiring Winsor Newton, or you're requiring, Daler-Rowney, or you requiring whatever brand that has quality or not?
Right. And I also haven't worked with some of the like lower grade gouache, so I'm like I don't know what it's like, but I have a feeling just based off my knowledge of just paint in general, there's different grades, and I'm like, let's try to stick with the better quality ones. I don't know.
If they're going to a craft store to buy it, you're probably not getting the quality.
Yeah, depends. I would have to see it mix, but maybe you can still use it for something else. I don't know.
Oh, you can. I mean, admittedly, the medium is not going to make you a good artist,
right?
But it sure can slow down the process if you have bad stuff.
I guess I recommend Winsor Newton because I know how it mixes and like the different things that you can do with it.
Is there since you've been painting in gouache and on you were using a Cintiq, was that right?
Yeah, for my digital work.
Are you in Photoshop for that then?
Yes, Photoshop for that. And yeah, I just finished the I sent finals for a book project last week, so I had it on my desk. But like, I need to get, I need to kind of rework my office so that way I have a painting desk and a computer desk because it's like I want to have both, but
Mm.
it's just don't have. I need to configure the space out a little bit more. Let's just say that.
I've
So
thought
that
I've thought recently, and I don't know how big you work on your originals, but the next that I work on, I might completely rearrange my studio because I normally work on. I just have a studio desk, like a standard. I don't even know what this is. Probably like a 3 foot by 4 foot studio desk, like standard fare that I've had since high school. But I have
okay.
a secondary one on the side, and there's part on some of the spreads that I've worked on. The entire surface of my desk is taken up by the spread, and so there's just not a lot of wiggle. And
Yeah.
so I thought, okay, next book, maybe I rearrange my desks to allow for a instead of doing a 30 by 30 piece, I can actually work much bigger and get more pizzazz out of the work in the end. What when you're working with the Cintiq, I assume you're Photoshop or are you running something else?
I'm in Photoshop. Yeah, I'm running that, so it takes up a lot of real estate. It's the 24-inch one, so it takes up like half the desk. And sometimes I'm awkwardly kind of sitting at my desk and looking at my computer screen. So it's like I need to just kind of rework it a little bit. Or sometimes I'll just shift my computer desk so it's like more in line with the Cintiq. But yeah, I just need, I think the next step for me is like figuring out like, okay, I need a painting desk and a computer desk and like being able to freely move
Yeah.
around essentially.
Are you?
Because,
Oh, go ahead, please.
oh no, I was gonna say, because then that does start affecting my back and like, that's the reason why your back's hurting. Because you're sitting awkwardly.
I know. I just, as I was talking about, like redoing my studio in a way that allows for maybe bigger pieces, I did immediately just think like, okay, that means some stuff's probably gonna have to be behind me. And I'm like, that's not great because I'm gonna have to twist every single time in order to get to the work or to get to materials or whatever it may be. But we'll figure it out at some point. That's
Yeah.
later down the road. Um, are you so your studio though is in your house? I assume at this point.
Yeah, it's the second bedroom, or yeah, it's a three-bedroom California bungalow, but it's one of the bedrooms essentially.
And
And
is
I'm sorry.
I don't know, but and forgive me if this is asking too much, but do you have a partner?
Yes, we both work from home,
Oh
so
yeah, I was gonna say like how is that relationship between your space and someone else's space?
yeah. I
That
mean,
transition.
he has his office, and I have my own, and then we have our bedroom. So it's nice to have the space, but it's like, oh, we should clean out the garage so that way it becomes more of a studio. That would be
Is
much better. But that's very costly. So I'm like, oh, one day.
is he an artist or is he?
He's an artist in the sense that he writes and directs and does his short films. So in that sense, yeah, I guess you could say he's an
Okay,
artist.
yeah, I'll count it. I will count it.
Yeah.
Point.
So
That's allowed. The reason I ask is just that idea of like how much space an artist takes versus someone who is a business person who potentially just needs a desk. Uh,
yeah,
you know how do you negotiate those kind of situations as a pair is
yeah.
always fascinating to me in some fashion. So tell me, going back a little bit to sort of the kidlit world, now that you're in the thick of it, you've been doing it for a while, you have a sense of like what interests you in that world and what you can get out of your images and things of the sort. Do you have a sense of like certain range of material and books and things of the sort that you aim towards now, or is it sort of just what
Um,
comes along?
I mean, so far it's like been whatever comes along, and if it sounds like something that I feel inspired by. Most of the projects that I'm approached by, like they're all really exciting. So I if it works with my schedule, I'm not working on any other thing, then I'm just like, yes, let's work on it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Um, I will say teaching children's books, illustration, like has made me want to write more for myself. So I think the next step for me is like being illustrator author at some point, but it's just a matter of getting through that hiccup of like getting comfortable with my writing voice, whatever that
Yeah.
is, and finding it.
That is, once you figure that out, let me know.
Yeah.
That's always going to be the curse, I think, for me, is just no matter how much I've done of it or how much I've tried, I think it's always going to be that battle of feeling like it's something other for the most part. Is it, so have you written anything yet, or is it still at
Oh,
that where,
well, with the first book, I had an authorship. I was the author for that, but I felt like that book was very like just research heavy. It was just a matter of like researching it and like saying it in my own voice. Whereas
yeah,
I want to work with more narrative stories and finding that author voice that works well with my illustration voice. So it's hard, and like I can guide students and like share like great children's books. But when it comes to myself, it's a little bit harder. So there's that. It's interesting.
I mean, it's funny because I'm in a similar boat in the sense that like I teach a children's book class and I've only authored a couple
Yeah.
books, but it's been so long, and I always feel this sort of outs me here a little bit, and I think this makes sense to a lot of people, is I feel like it's been so long since I've actually gotten one published that I wrote, that I feel like I'm sort of not necessarily lying, but um, I don't feel like an expert at all
Yeah.
times.
Oh, I
And
can kind of sense that.
yeah, and so there's this idea of I, I know how to tell a story. That's not the issue. I think I forget who it was that posted at some point that illustrators are just as much the author of a book as an author is,
Oh,
uh,
definitely.
which I 100% believe, but it still feels farcical to me at points, being like, oh yeah, I'm the author, when I did not actually write the words, or even teaching a class and saying like, your story could be better if it was this plot, when
Yeah.
I don't have as much expertise in the writing side of things. What do you in the kids book class? What do you actually like? Are you teaching story, or is it primarily?
More so with the illustration. So it's children's book illustration, but for their last project, they had to create their own book dummy.
Yeah.
And I kind of based it off the instructor who previously kind of taught the class, Steve Turk, who was my mentor in school. And so I kind of based it off the way he did it, where um, you can tell a story through pictures alone. Like there's pictureless books, so if you can get that down and then just add words, it doesn't even have to be a lot of words. It's just enough. Then I think you can have a good base for a story. And I teach the class kind of telling them like an editor is going to want to go. We'll be going over this anyways, so just kind of
Yeah.
keep it in mind.
Yeah.
Because that's the editor's job. They work with the words, right, and making sure the pictures
You're
work.
not alone in this venture. You don't have to figure it all out.
Yeah, but if we can at least get the story down through pictures, I think you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Uh,
And how you said you've taught that one before?
so I've taught it for 3 terms now. So that's been really fun, actually. I really enjoyed it, and it's kind of made me love children's book illustration and just children's books in general a lot more. Like I really like love it, and just I think what writers and illustrators do is so special.
Just because you're seeing it from a different point of view of sort of the educational side, or
Yeah, and just like understand, like seeing how everything is coming together, the words and the pictures. It's really cool. And
um,
like everybody's jobs in between too, like an art director, an editor, and a designer, like all these different things that come together to form a book is just so it's cool to just kind of like take the time and just like really appreciate it.
Yeah. The thing that I love is, and I don't, this may be something that I'll give this to you. This is my freebie of the day. Uh,
Okay.
when I teach the kids book course, one of the things I have them do is every week we do they have to bring in a picture book from the library or, from a
Nice.
store or whatever. And then we actually have a share, like a show and tell, where they have to sit down and read the story to people.
Oh, yeah. I do the
Uh,
same thing, like a read aloud.
yeah, yeah.
Or yeah.
The downside is some stories are very long they bring in, and I have to be like, okay, we just got to paraphrase this one, because you're not going to
Gotcha.
read the entire thing before the class uh, gets, before we have to start working for the day. But they love doing that, and me as a teacher, I get to find all these books that either I haven't seen,
Uh-huh.
or more likely, I get to hear the stories of why these books have connected with people in a way that I had not previously known,
Yeah.
in the sense of like, I know that Goodnight Moon and Olivia and those books are popular, but then all of a sudden it's, oh, that's why they're popular. This is what they like. I get to hear their reasoning behind it, which is very,
Oh.
very. Um, so you already knew my trick of the.
No, I didn't. No, I
Uh,
didn't know, but I'm glad that you also do it. It kind of reaffirms like kind of why I do it. Or
yeah, yeah, yeah,
also,
yeah.
it's like it's nice to see what they're interested in because I could bring in books that I like, but
Hmm.
I'm curious what they like and what got them interested in the class essentially.
Well, I also know that if I bring in what I like, they're going to see a lot of weird and what stuff that they kind of like go, well, I don't understand why that got made, and I have to stop. Okay, well, let's look at the story. Let's look at the plot. This is the reasoning. Um, with I see there's a question here that I want to get to, which is Cassette Illustrator writes, "Do you like to sketch in public? If so, is gouache your go-to medium?" And so,
Um,
are you bringing gouache around? Are you out there on the street?
I'm a terrible sketchbook person. Like I buy sketchbooks and I don't fill them out at all. But I'm trying to get back into that. So I did recently get myself like a watercolor sketchbook. So and I kind of told myself like I needed like draw in public more, or yeah, just kind of draw from nature. So um, I got a palette. I have the sketchbook now. It's just a matter of making the time to go out and draw. And I have a awesome cactus garden in the backyard. So it's like I could just go outside and do this. So
Yeah.
why am I not doing this like all the time? But it's just I've been really busy with like just deadlines and teaching, so it's sometimes hard to make the time to
I
go
was
out
gonna
there.
like with deadline teaching. I personally just take off the summers,
Okay.
to try to, well, I'm also doing it full time, so I'm teaching a lot more probably than the a standard adjunct. But the idea of just like finding time to do that kind of stuff and sit down and dedicate time to sketching is often very hard
Yeah.
for illustrators. And so I wonder, like, how do you find the time in the day to do all the stuff that you want to do, and make the work that you want to make without sacrificing projects for clients and things of the sort?
Yeah. It's definitely hard. I mean, sometimes I'll just doodle like I have a little notepad that I'll just kind of doodle ideas if I think of them as I'm working on something else. And maybe I might make that into like take that to final like on an iPad or something. Or like if I get lucky like on in Photoshop or maybe even paint it sometimes like oh like this I feel like this would look better painted than digital. So that's kind of how I felt about this image. I was like, I think this would look way better painted than if I did it digitally. I think I tried doing it digitally and I was like, there's something off about it. Like I'm
Is
not
there,
liking the textures.
out of curiosity, is there any way to move it up on screen? It looks
Oh,
it
yeah, sorry.
shifted down
I'm
quite.
getting too, yeah. Oh, there we go. Is that better? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Thank
the
you.
risk. I have the same thing. Like I can only zoom out so much right now, and so
Yeah.
like I'm trying to like maintain the part that's interesting on screen, but it's not necessary. If it's awkward, you make it work for you.
Okay.
We will manage.
No, I had to
Uh,
remind myself that no, I had to remind myself to peek over. And also I do like the gator board because it's super lightweight. It's kind of like foam board. and I can just like twist it and turn it and move it up if I need to. So it's
Wait,
kind of,
what is gator board? I guess I.
it's almost like so it's meant for watercolor paper, but it's almost like foam board, and it doesn't bevel when you like add water to it. So it's kind
Yeah.
of, it's a cool surface. And so instead of using a giant like wooden like board, um, that's kind of heavy, but with gator board, it feels so lightweight that you can like twist and turn it any direction you want it.
Because I've always used homosote for that, but homosote's heavy.
Almost, I never heard of that.
Homosote is like the kind of walls that you tack into at art school. The it's essentially compressed newspaper, um,
Oh,
and they sell it at like Home Depot or those kinds of stores. Uh,
gotcha.
but it's heavy and bulky, but it's great for watercolor paper because one, you can staple into it, so you
Okay.
tape stuff down or glue it down or anything of the sort. But two, you can also it absorbs really well, and so if your paper has a lot of water in it, it soaks into the board itself and helps dry your watercolor paper.
Okay. Okay.
But it sounds similar, and I mean, basically, it's a
Yeah,
surface,
it does sound similar. Um,
but it's just the sound of the gator board sounds more exciting to me because it's not dense.
yeah, it's
But
it's something that I kind of picked up like a few years ago. I was like, oh, I kind of like this stuff
yeah,
instead of like having a masonite piece of masonite board or something, or I don't know.
um,
It just seemed easier to carry around.
so
Like if it's not, if it's heavy, I don't want to deal with it.
yeah, you're already in pain from your back having to bend over the whole time and
Um,
a heavy
yeah.
board to carry around. Uh, to sketch at this point.
I feel like only so lately it's only been for like projects and stuff, so that's where I get to sketch. Unless I just like doodle on the side on my iPad. So I feel like I I probably use the iPad more like this a sketchbook to be honest, where I could just jot down ideas and I could color block easily, just to
Yeah.
get the idea out. But I don't know with like recent things with like AI, it's like I've been wanting to get back into traditional painting more because it's like, oh, I miss that. Like just being too digital has been like it's nice, like you could do some great stuff, but it's like you start missing the kind of analog feel and just the process of just mixing paint.
So okay, let me ask you because that you delve into this topic. I know I've probably talked about it a little bit on here, but just that idea of um, with AI, I have heard a lot more people jumping into traditional media more often because of you know, the the thing over our shoulder, the lurking world.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I personally, I will state this on here. I'm personally not super threatened by AI at this point. I don't think it's really coming for my job. I think it just makes it hard for people to start in a career. Uh, but that idea of going back to traditional materials, I've heard quite a few folks say that over the last few months or half a year or whatever sort of time frame we're talking about there. Do you is that like something that you're worried about? Is that something that
Um,
like how much do you think AI will impact you specifically, or how much of a threat do you think it makes with that idea of like digital versus traditional materials?
well, I'm not sure if it affects me right now,
Yeah, yeah,
but I do get concerned for other people, and I think sometimes, like I don't know, like I think of some of those like entry level jobs and things like that, and it's like those types of like people rely on that on those jobs for their income. So I do think about things like that. And but for myself, like I know probably right now, like AI can't exactly replicate what I create, but I don't like the fact that it's can potentially be fed into
yeah.
a prompt. So that's not something I like. um,
It's not there yet, but it's trying.
yeah. Yeah, and I think like you mentioned, like artists wanting to get back into analog because of that. I do think that there's a lot of artists like wanting to do that as like a like form of rebellion in a sense.
Yeah.
which is kind of awesome because I'm excited to see a whole bunch of analog work. That's great.
Well, it will bring back a little bit of the like gallery scene for illustrators, which has sort of died off a little bit. There's reasons why I'm in favor of it, but I also understand that digital artwork is like, there are advantages. There certainly are advantages to working digitally. But I'm someone who likes to get my hands dirty, and so
Yeah,
the more I can get my hands dirty, the better.
for sure.
Actually, that's it. I was going to ask this earlier, and it's a dumb question, and
Mhm.
it's really
No.
about, oh, that's where this. I got paint all over my hand, and I can't figure out where it was coming.
Oh no.
I know it's like it's on my shirt. It's on. I finally
Oh,
found
that's always the worst.
the source material. Um, well, this leads directly into this question. When you're painting, at the end of the day, and I already probably have it, the back of my hand gets covered in paint. I'm a righty, and so I end up with a lot of like paint everywhere, partially because I'm just messy. But I'm wondering, like, as a gouache artist, especially, you have this material that has the potential to be um, uh, once you mar it with some sort of texture or color or something that is not what you want, you're kind of donezo at that point. And,
Um,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's
Sorry.
not easy to recoup the colors that you need to get out of it.
No.
And so I'm wondering, like, how clean of an artist are you?
Yeah.
And are you fighting against the are you fighting the good fight, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. There sometimes you make marks and it's like, oh, I don't really like that. Like this tree right here feels a little wonky, but I'm like, I'll deal with it, and then maybe I can cut back in with the same color to kind of like mask it. But the thing with gouache, it's like it looks the best when it kind of looks
Yeah,
effortless, and
yeah,
just kind of like you kind of go with the flow of it. So sometimes like there's certain decisions that will kind of I'll make just to kind of um, just go with what's naturally happening because you can't really control a lot of it. As much as I want to control it, it's gonna paint's gonna do what it does. So you kind of have to go with it, or like if I do mess up on a section, like I might have to start over, but maybe I can get a paper towel or like a clean brush and kind of pick up the gouache and try to get it as clean as possible to kind of see if I can rework it. Because if if you layer too much gouache, it's harder to correct some of those
yeah,
things.
yeah. It's one that also, like, you can't easily paint over it with white without getting everything chalky. That it, like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
lose a
you
lot of colors. And um is it I mean, obviously it's your go-to material at this point, but I'm gonna ask a weird question. Is there a love-hate relationship with it?
um I mostly love. Sometimes I get frustrated or like I forget like oh it's like gouache can sometimes like it's a color. You think it's gonna be a specific color,
Oh,
but it ends up changing. It's like,
oh,
oh,
the
I should have
dry.
done it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
like how it dries is kind of it's always surprising. As much as like I've used it for a few years, it's like oh,
the
like
light
it's
colors dry dark, and the dark colors dry light. Uh,
base yeah, essentially. Or I feel like most of the time it's like yeah, they just dry darker sometimes. So I'm
yeah,
just like, oh, okay. And it
it's
also
the
depends on the which tube
which
of paint. Like this linden green, like you think it's like gonna be a darker green, but in like this ended up drying like more yellow than what I thought it was gonna be. But I'm like, it's not a bad color. I'll
yeah,
pivot and just kind of work with it.
it's a pretty good linden green. Is that what you said?
Yeah, linden.
Yeah,
Or yeah, linden.
yeah. There's an
LID. Or,
E L
yeah,
I.
LINDEN.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
That was when I was working in Windsor Newton. That was probably my favorite color for a long,
such
long
a cool
time.
color.
Was linden green, because it's like a specific color that I feel like only uh, is made for that brand of gouache. Like it's the same thing with Holbein. It has some colors that are distinctly Holbein's colors, and like some of their like ice blues and things like that that show up. And so I think it's Holbein that makes the ice blue. I could be wrong.
I'll
Um,
have to look it up.
but with all that you've all the experience that you've had with the material, are there things that like, I mean, obviously the dry time is, or not dry time, but the dry color when it dries,
Yeah.
it's sometimes. Uh, but do you thrive in that world of um, trying to manage and adapt, or like the equivalent of like when I think of gouache, one mistake and it's not something that's easy to fix. Same thing with watercolor, and part of that for me, or part of the love of that is, oh well, now I just need to learn to deal with it and adapt. But then there's some people who go like, ooh, I hate that. I hate the idea that I can't control it, or that it's um, I don't
Yeah.
like things sort of lie as mistakes or celebrating those. And I'm wondering sort of what's your take on those moments of mishap?
I think before I used to be very like precise and like if I didn't like a certain like oh I screwed it up, but now I'm kind of been enjoying kind of embracing some of those things. It's just like just let it be, and it's like it's a little bit of me having to let go of this being perfect mentality, which like it works for some people, but it's like oh, it can get in the way of creativity sometimes because you're overthinking the process where it's just like you just do it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
um,
looking at the colors that you have, looking at the way that you're laying it down, it seems like there's a precision to it. But I also know that some of that is you put down a color and you go, ooh, that needs to be a little bit darker or a little
yeah.
bit lighter, and then you have to figure out how to like adjust at the last second so before it dries, or
Yeah. I
and
just let, oh, sorry. I was just going to
but
mention, for the most part, I just kind of let it dry. Like if this green was not the green I wanted, I would lay it out all the same way, but maybe I would come in with a different color, maybe a darker one and just kind of dry brush it. So that way it feels like it's intentional.
yeah,
Whereas if I decided to switch it midway, then it looks like I kind of, I screwed up. So, but maybe, yeah, just kind of go with the flow and just like, okay, I'll cover the screen and just make the adjustments then or later.
it's one of the reasons why I like Rebecca Green's work is that you can tell that she's like trying to mix the same color, and it dries a slightly different, or the mix is slightly different, and she doesn't immediately go and say, oh, I have to start this piece over, and it's become sort of her signature look with material that
Mm.
you must know Rebecca Green's work, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm familiar with her
Okay.
work.
Okay. I
Awesome.
was gonna say, if you don't, and I'm talking out my butt, please let me know. But so who are you looking at artist wise? Who are the stars? Who are the
I mentioned so I mentioned Mary Blair was definitely an early influence. Charlie Harper, Allison Martin Provenson, um, a lot of those mid-century artists, just and how they kind of worked with some of those with the golden books. So kind of learning from those, but also trying to bring it into a modern aesthetic, I guess, that it doesn't feel 1950s.
yeah?
So just kind of bringing that, and also just the cultural stuff too, like growing up in Southern California, like just exposed to like color and the desert and just a lot of um, yeah, just the cultural stuff. Like I think of my background a little bit, just like everything. Oh, like in at least in like the shops that we visited or the places we went, like all the like Mexican or Latino um, aesthetic. It's always felt very colorful. So I feel like I'm drawing from that as well, as far as like the imagery and just colors.
Is there are there folks that you look at that are outside of that, like mid-century, whether it be ancient, old, like Greco-Roman sculptures, or even modern day illustrators? Are there folks that sort of feel uh, like disjointed, except for in your head, if that makes it like something that people wouldn't expect you to be a big fan of?
Oh, I don't, hmm. I'm not sure. Trying to.
I mean,
I really don't know the answer to that one.
yeah, I wasn't expecting Nick Cave, so that one sort of threw
Oh
me.
no, no. Although I think he dabbled in ceramics, which is kind of funny to think of him just in a smock
Yeah,
working in ceramics.
sort of
Anyway.
real moody with his coiffed of hair, going,
Oh yeah.
I want to throw a vessel today. Yeah. Or,
um.
here's this new mug I made. You like it? It's got a
Yeah. It says "World's Best
yeah,
Dad."
yeah, exactly.
Oh, I I feel like that answer is gonna come to me later.
Okay, okay, no pressure.
I'm like,
Okay, we're gonna do cultural corner now, which
yeah.
you're down in Southern California. The first
Uh-huh.
ask in cultural corner is, if I were to come and visit you in that area, what is the first thing that I need to do? What's the first thing I need to go to? Is there a location? Is there a restaurant? Is there a site to see that everybody
Um,
in that
so
location?
okay. So if we weren't doing miniature donkeys,
Oh, okay, yeah, that's already.
um,
You're right.
but
Miniature.
I'm gonna go to I'm gonna because I'm in the city of Riverside. I'm gonna shout out Riverside, but I would take you to Tio's Tacos, which is it's a Mexican restaurant. But the cool thing about Tio's Tacos is that there's sculptures made out of recyclables on in the rest or outside of the restaurant, and it's just the most interesting thing ever. And it's also next door to the public library, so that would be the place I take a friend from out of town.
Okay. I mean, you had me at tacos. Let's put it that way. I don't the everything else is a bonus, but tacos is the win.
Yeah,
Um, is
but
there?
I'm
Oh, go.
sorry. No, no, I wasn't gonna add anything
Oh,
substantial.
I was gonna ask. Uh, obviously, like, are you in the area where there's all the taco trucks and all the time?
Not for this area. So we're an hour away, but there's they just maybe within the last few years they opened up well, Cheech Marin of Cheech and Chong, he has this amazing Chicano art museum. It used to be the old public library, but they acquired it, and now it's Chicano Art Museum. And
Ooh,
so it's super awesome to have, first of all, like this collection of just Chicano art, but also the fact that it was at the old mid-century library that was in town. Excuse me. So, and I forgot what my point with that was.
I was no. What was I asking? I lost
I
it.
know. I was like, oh, art.
I got excited by I got excited by the idea of like, especially like folk art, and I love folk art and things that are like maybe a little bit what do they call it, naive art or
Yeah.
untrained
I
art of some sort. So
Oh yeah. No, I love folk art. I actually look at a lot of Mexican folk art when kind of deciding colors. Sometimes it's like, oh, what would an artist like this pick out? And sometimes there's like really cool fluorescent pinks and greens, and it's kind of fun to look at
I got
and being inspired by it.
I got
And I
really
wish,
frustrated. I went to this. There's this. My crit group goes to this Mexican restaurant that's in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, to crit and talk and whatnot. And they have these masks on the wall that are the coolest, like uh, folk art masks. And there's got to be a name to them. And it's like just a human face. There's no special. It's not like detailed or anything of the sort.
uh-huh.
Um, but I asked the guy, and I was like, "What are those called? Where'd you get that?" And he goes, "I don't know. Someone bought it and hung it up." And I'm so frustrated because I want to go to that museum now so I can go be like, "Okay, there's a specific thing I'm looking for, and I want to get one for my collection."
That
Um,
would be cool. And I wish like a lot of like because they're folk art, it's like, oh, I wish there was like a name because like I feel like even though it's folk art, it's like these are still artists
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
are creating such amazing work. So it's
They
like, oh,
get lumped underneath that term. It's the same thing with craft. Like,
yeah, it's
I
like
don't know if it's the same thing at the art center, but I worry that there's this reputation that craft is not art in some circles, and someone make like weaving a basket. There's some beautiful
Right?
and woven and things of the sort, and I don't want to discredit it and just go, well, it's not highbrow fine art, and
Right.
therefore it's lesser than or whatever.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
do you have
I think
good museums out besides that? Or are there other art museums
um
here?
I mean, being so close to Los Angeles, there's a ton. So there's LACMA, there's the Pasadena, the Norton Simon, excuse me, I was thinking of the name. Um, what else? There's the Academy Museum. There's so many of them. There's the Palm Springs Art Museum, which is kind of nice trip to go to out in the desert. Yeah, we have. I mean, there's tons of different ones, and there's different shows always happening. So it's like it's sometimes a little bit overwhelming, where it's like, oh, I wish I could go to all of these, but I don't always have the time.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how often do you get out to some of those things, or is it?
Oh gosh, I can't even remember the last museum I went to. Was it the Broad? It might have been the Broad.
Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't ask then of how often you, or when's the last time you went. I don't want to bring up sadness over not being able to make it out to events.
Yeah.
So wait, how close are you to LA then?
It's about an hour drive, so
Oh, so
it's not. It's completely doable. I do it every week.
well, hour drive, but that's also LA. Does that mean it's a 5-minute walk in an hour?
Well, for me, if I'm going, because I live east of Los Angeles, it's about I'm gonna say 50 miles away. But when you're in LA, even Santa Monica can be like an hour and a half drive. So it's almost like equivalent to living that in that direction, but I'm more east, which is it's funny.
Okay.
Because it's just like, oh, it's can be a bad day in Los Angeles, but it's like it's the equivalent of going just outside of Los Angeles, but in a different county essentially.
Yeah. Are you in the TMZ, the 30-mile zone?
30-mile zone of I've actually never heard that phrase.
Well,
TMZ.
you know the show TMZ,
Oh,
gossip
I
or
see.
whatever?
Oh, okay. I thought that was something else, but
Well, it's built on the idea of the 30-mile zone, which is, I think, like prices. Once you get outside of 30 miles, it costs more to do production, or
I didn't know
it
that.
less or something of the sort. Yeah. Hey, I'm not even from LA, and
I know you know more than I do.
you got to get hip to it. This is
That's funny.
should be news to you. So
Riverside
well,
is substantial is a bit cheaper than Los Angeles, so yeah. So I don't know if it being more expensive or cheaper, but I think it's probably cheaper.
yeah. Well, I think there's some laws about like how much they have to charge because of unions or something of the sort. It's
Okay. Oops.
some weird business slash entertainment industry thing. That's all I know. I don't know. I can look it up later, and I will really interested in what he means. So I see there's another question here. I want to make sure. Oh, I need to go back and see. There is a good question here. Here's do you remember your first time trying gouache, and how did it go? For those people that are out there going, ugh, gouache, I hate it, or this is such a struggle, how do I get through this? What was your first attempt like, and is there hope for those people?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I did not do this overnight. It took a lot of practice. I think when I first started, I bought myself like 5 colors of paints, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just try it out. And I think I started off with just doing like line work, base work, and that might have been around the time I took the gouache techniques class, which kind of allowed me to kind of get messy and allow myself to make mistakes. So I will say, like, allow yourself to make those early mistakes, and like once you start getting the hang of the medium and like just its properties and how it like different velocities work, like you'll start getting the hang of it. But the more you practice, the better you become. So
yeah.
Don't get discouraged if it's like not working out right away. It's like it just takes a little bit of practice. And even for myself, if I'm out of practice, it takes me a while to kind of get back into the
Hmm.
rhythm of it because I've gone months not painting, and it's definitely just like, whoa, I haven't done this in a long time.
Yeah, you have a heavy hand, or
Yeah, or you
it's the
forget
same,
the drying stuff too.
yeah, it's the same thing with that I have with doing dry brush. It's like one day you can do dry brush on something and it looks lovely, and the next day
Uh-huh.
exact same technique and it comes out horrible. And it all depends on so many different factors of like what brush you use, how dry it is, what's the temperature that day, is
Oh,
there a
definitely.
from the west, all of that can come into play. um,
Yeah.
there is another question, which is, uh, as a watercolor artist, how can you sell me the love of gouache? I have a hard time with it. So let's. I don't know why this is becoming gouache.
Gouache
Gouache. Yeah. Like,
versus watercolor.
yeah. But what
I mean,
what?
both are very. You have to be very skilled at. There's like a watercolor society, right? I feel like there
Uh,
should be a.
yeah, I think there is actually. You're right. There is.
Yeah. I feel like there should be a gouache society. I don't know. But I think both mediums can are. I mean, they do different things. I mean, sometimes you can get gouache to do some of the things watercolor does. It just depends on the velocity and how watered down you can get it. I like the bold colors. And some of the like colors you can get with wash, especially some of those pinks, like it looks so magical and like they look so delicious, I will say. They look like candy.
Yeah, I would even venture to say the thing that, like, when someone asks me what is watercolor and how do you work with watercolor, it's all about the dry time. And I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
you lose some of that risk with wash. I mean, dry time makes a difference, but you're not worrying about gravity. You're not worrying
Oh
about,
yeah.
there's other factors that come into play with watercolor that gouache doesn't have. But I would also venture to say that gouache is much easier to get a flat look out of it, and
Yes.
special sort of like tipping techniques and things of the sort. But you also don't get as much variety. That's the downside, is like you don't get those amazing blooms that you get with watercolor. And so
Yeah.
it's uh, I would say it also is for someone who needs to who doesn't want to have to maintain the white of their paper. It's a lovely thing because you don't have to do that in order to survive. Um, but okay, outside of going back to culture corner here, um,
Okay.
what's the I mean, obviously I know there's a big art scene in that area, but um, what's the kidlit market like there? Do you have like a big crit group or anything of the sort that you meet with? What's
Um,
what's the
yep.
info on that?
I've been fortunate to just kind of like know a few people, like just obviously through like social media, but it's nice when we can see people in person, which is kind of nice. Like I have a good group of friends that also work in children's literature, or so it's always nice to kind of relate to them in some way about like industry stuff, whether it's like I don't know, not complaining exactly, but just like just I don't think we really complain, but more just like um, just talk shop, I guess, if
Yeah,
anything.
you don't. You're not complaining about it, are you? You don't. There.
It's like it's more like, oh, I have a deadline coming up and they want, or I have sketches due this week or something. I don't know. It's stuff like that. So it's not, it's like more complaining about the artwork, if anything, or like deadlines. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I can't do this because of this. I have this coming up.
totally fair. I think that if there's any art directors, editors out there listening, you're allowed to complain. You're allowed to say, there was a who I had on last week, uh, Lancham, who said, I forget what it was, but it was something along the lines of um, that they have the right to ask for more time since it takes so long for notes to come back. And yes, that's true. But I also was like, oh, can I say that out loud? Or do I have to be quiet about that or with
Yeah.
the audience? But again, I think that everybody knows that deadlines are crunched at times from both. You're allowed to be.
It's tough. I mean, sometimes like I work a little bit slow sometimes, so it's like I have to keep myself on a schedule and be like, you got to get this many done, so that way you're not like feeling stress.
Do you
But then
do you do the same thing you do where you like plan out and you're like, I have this much I have to get done today?
I try to, but sometimes I underestimate how much time something can take. So I'm like, oh, I should have given myself extra time for this one spread. I like what will happen sometimes. Like I think I could knock a spread out in a week, but it ends up taking like a week and 2 days or something instead.
Oh.
So I'm like, oh, okay, I have to work a little bit quicker, or just like keep that in mind for future
Have you
projects.
missed the deadline?
Um, for the most part, I do. I think the last one I asked for an extension, and they were nice enough to provide that. So it's always nice when art directors and editors understand, and they can like cut you a little bit of slack. But obviously, you try to be on top of the deadline stuff as much as you can.
Yeah. You don't want to do it too many times, otherwise you have to face
Yeah,
the director at some point and go, I'm sorry, I screwed up.
yeah. And also, it's like there's like whole teams involved. So it's like if you're holding people back, it's like you're holding back the print team and the art directors late on their stuff, and it's just like I just start feeling really bad. I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry.
I mean, I found out very early on in my career that of Kidlit that they do build in wiggle room. So there is room to, if you're not going to make a deadline, but you got to be upfront about it and you got to be polite about it and not
Sure.
that of some sort.
Yeah.
But there's other industries like editorial where there isn't that wiggle room in the same way.
I know it's like it's due when they say it's due, but still,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate to work with some pretty great teams, so
Yeah.
that have been very understanding.
So there's another question here from Bolt.art that says, what to do when everything I create feels not relevant? It feels good, but not with any impact. So, thinking about, I'm gonna sort of paraphrase this here for us, but we all struggle with, I assume you do too, but struggle with the idea of expectations of what our work is supposed to look like versus what it does versus what we hand in potentially, which is a whole different thing. And how do you feel good about everything that you make is probably the first question. Like, does everything that goes out the door, are you like, that's stellar and I'm so proud of every piece I've done?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes what happens is like I'm like, oh, I wish I could have done this a little bit better, but and then you feel a little bit bad, but then you revisit the artwork maybe like a few weeks out, and you're like, this is actually not too bad. So I don't know if that's happened to you, where it's just like,
Uh,
kind of going back and looking, it's like that was a pretty good drawing. Like you're a little bit more harsh when you're like just finish something, whereas like if you take a little bit of break from it, you and revisit it, you feel better. I don't know. That's what happens to me. So I could be completely wrong.
I feel like in my own instances that I'm too harsh on myself. So oftentimes when I look back at stuff, I'm like, it's old, it's gross. I did a bad job. And so there's a threshold where like for a certain amount of time, like maybe it's a couple of months or something like that, that I think the work is good. And then after that, it becomes, oh, that looks old.
Oh,
And I don't mean that it looks bad of any sort, but just old.
I
And
see.
old can be sort of my book, or the way that I look at it is like I always want to be moving forward. And so if something looks old, it feels like it's antiquated or it's not current or of the zeitgeist of some sort, and I need to rethink my approach. But that's me. I'm also a negative Nancy on certain things, so I'm always looking at the bad stuff versus the good stuff right off the bat. So with Teacher Marin asked you to move stuff up, but you already did, so you're good.
Oh, wait, I had to remind myself. I'll use this as a guide.
Yeah, it's a classic drift of
yeah.
Okay, it happens.
Thank you.
With the idea of Kidlit being one of those avenues, are there other avenues that you play in right now visually that you're like
Okay.
that
Oh,
you gravitate towards?
I love so kind of adjacent to kid lit. I love product design for children. It's so fun. I got a chance to work on some wood puzzles and puzzles or puzzle like they're wood puzzles and then also like the jigsaw puzzles for the company Crocodile Creek.
Mm.
And I love working on product design. It's so fun. Like I get to stretch like my design product brain side and also like mix it in with illustration. So I love that. I do like the editorial stuff because I like kind of stretching that side of my brain as well, like the conceptual stuff and like reading articles and kind of finding the simplest way to illustrate what the article is conveying is kind of cool. I feel like I'm into a lot of things, and also like it's nice that people consider me for some of these projects that aren't just kidlit related. I mean, I love kidlit stuff, but just to be considered for other types of projects is always fun too. Because it's nice to just bring in a mixture of different types of projects and kind of show that I can do more than just the one thing.
Yeah, you're not a single note.
Yeah.
Is there with the product stuff? Sorry, I have a brush in my mouth.
Okay, I was wondering what that was. I was
Both
like,
my,
could hear.
yeah,
I
I'm
can't
using
see it.
both my hands for something else right now. With the product stuff, how involved were you in the actual like? I mean, obviously you did artwork, but was it just artwork, or was there more to it that like did you actually have to physically handle product and say this is the right fit or this isn't the right fit,
Um,
or how did that all
I
come down?
think the most, at least if I can talk about the puzzles that I worked on with the company Crocodile Creek, they let me design the shapes within the board that they were going to get die cut. So it was kind of looking at things through a product lens and also thinking about different types of corners and what's safe for children and what and things like that. Obviously with the guidance of an art director, like
Yeah.
that's just easier, but it's nice to think of shapes and what works and like things like that of that nature.
Did they go through like here's what does work and here's what doesn't, or was it?
Oh, yeah, I mean a little bit of that. Like I remember like the sharp corners or there's things that can't be like too small because it can be a choking hazard. So things like that.
And so you didn't make any choking hazards, is what you're telling
No,
me?
I feel like my little toucan was pretty small, but I was like it was just big enough where it wasn't going to be an issue. Knock on wood.
Wait,
Hopefully.
one puzzles where it's like it's a wooden like
It's a oh yeah, it's a wooden let me see if I could bring one over. I have one on my shelf.
because I don't know this puzzle from you, and I'm like, I bet you I know
Whoops.
this, but I don't.
Okay. Let me see. Can you see them?
Give me a second. I got a little delay on the here, and then it should pop up. And you're on screen. Oh yeah. Okay, got it.
So
Yes.
they're like, and there's like little slots that they fall into, and then on the back of the where the packaging comes, there's like a play scene where you can kind of create your own little
Yeah.
scenes with these animals. But these were really fun to draw. Like they're really like flat based. These are all like I did the vector line art for it, and then created the illustration that included bleeds, so that way when the machine comes in and like prints it on, like we get a nice clean edge, and that doesn't feel like it's missing part of the illustration.
It's one of those ones where like I've never worked on that kind of product before.
Yeah. I'll try to get them closer so that way people can see it. Oh.
One of the books that I've worked on got turned into a puzzle, but all I had to do was just provide artwork for it.
Oh.
And it wasn't, it was a small part of the puzzle, so it didn't require a huge heavy lift on my part, and they did all the technical side of it. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean they did a lot of the stuff themselves,
yeah.
but it was nice to kind of see the reasonings why certain things, and need to
Yeah.
be the way they
You
are,
weren't,
and also like dive into die cuts and stuff like that. It's
you
kind of
weren't
nice.
cutting out all the pieces yourself on a
No,
man.
I was not assembling as like
Yeah.
as Santa's workshop
Yeah.
situation.
The
um,
I mean, that's the like. Have you done school events with any of the books?
so, oh, like for
Like,
children, I think the
yeah.
last one I did was for um uh middle school charter school, I think. And that was really cool, actually. I was a little nervous because I was like, oh, I've never talked to middle schoolers, and they're
Mm.
like, they can be intimidating sometimes, but they were actually really receptive to like just like picture book making, which is cool.
Especially if
And
you angle it as this is a job. This is
yeah,
like I
and it's
just
nice to,
at a middle
yeah,
school recently, and it was the same thing. Like I sort of tailored the conversation to the age group, so they didn't feel like they were
being
talking.
talked down to or anything.
Or I actually asked the crowd. I was like, "How many of you still read picture books?" And got quite a few hands raised
Oh, cool.
in that situation. Which I mean, probably have siblings and things, rather those books.
Yeah.
But it was nice to hear that it was not just a me talking to the wind at that. Um, with I was gonna say with the school event side of things and going and talking and uh, talking about like the product stuff and the classic question that I used to get at the beginning. I've kind of corrected it now, where the kids all say, "Well, how do you make the books?" And I
Oh,
say,
yeah.
"Well, I don't actually physically make the book. Someone else does that." And now I've gotten to the habit of just telling them right off the bat, like, I don't make the book. Someone else does that. I just do the art stuff. But
Yeah.
same thing with that product. It's sort of like there's probably going to be some question at some point where someone goes, well, did you cut hand? How'd you make these?
Yeah. Like I was like, well, there's teams involved where
Yeah.
I try to be as like broad strokes as possible because I know like like they probably won't understand like a sales team or something.
Yeah.
So I try to make it a little fun
I,
and
I
just kind
correct
of
on a regular basis after I say publisher, and then I have to go, okay, the people who make the book or
yeah
her agent, when those words slip out, I'm like, no, I'm sorry. This is what I mean.
yeah
And have
yeah.
to
I have to remind myself. It's like, oh, your audience is probably doesn't know that.
um, with the potential for writing books, um, or sort of jumping into that world. Like one of the things I think of with your work is such a and you've already said this so many times, the clean sort of design, that sort of retro kind of vibe to it. Is there a sense of like subject wise of what would be the type of story that you would want to like? Would you try to write a story that would be akin to that, or would that be just aesthetically that's where you aim?
Yeah, what would I? Yeah, it'd be nice to get like land somewhere where it kind of complements this artistic style. And I do like drawing animals a lot. And I'm like, should I write something related to an animal or something? Or I don't know. There's something about the donkeys that were really inspiring. So I'm like, oh, maybe there's something there.
The, a donkey book? I will buy a donkey book without question.
Right?
So please make a donkey book for me. Um, very cute donkey book. Do you? I think you said it at one point here, even just the idea of. Um, I think you said something about selling a piece. Do you sell artwork?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I do um, like well, at least for my children's books, I haven't sold original art. Maybe not since Safe and Sound. Like that's the last time I sold original art from a book. But for the most part, like sometimes like I'll accept commissions from people that either have like a pet illustration or pet portrait that they want to get done or something else. Some family stuff portraits, which sometimes can be hard because it's like you have to really get
Well,
somebody's likeness.
I don't think I would dare do a family thing just because I am not a likeness person of any sort, and so that would
Ah.
be so far out of my range. I'm actually one of the things I'm looking at doing is doing house portraits.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I
Just
haven't.
design wise, like being able to do a collage version of someone's house. And I want to over the summer I want to make a few sample pieces for that. But even that, I'm worried a little bit. Like, what if I make the shutters too big, or what if I, what if I miss and there's some little element on their house that they love, and I just don't get that down perfectly of some sort. Um,
Yeah.
Human face, count me out. I would I'd be horrified by the reaction at the end. Um, they would that's not my uncle, and I'm like, okay, sure.
It's tough.
Um,
I think the last one I did was a few years ago for it was the daughter of the author of May Your Life Be Deliciosa. She requested a family portrait of her and her husband and Michael and his husband, which is super awesome because I was like, oh, it's somebody that I know and I know that they're gonna cherish it. And that was a digital one, which was made it things a little bit easier. So if I made a mistake or it didn't quite look like the people, I can rework it so that way I can get it
yeah,
the
you
way I
could,
want it to. Whereas like if it's analog, it's like, oh, you really had to get this to look like them. It's a little bit more effort, and making sure that you don't mess up.
and is that something that you advertise, or is that something that like just people
I
ask?
don't
Of?
I don't really advertise it too much, but people sometimes do go into my email and if it works out with my schedule, then and I'm open to doing it, and or if it's something that I think would be really fun, then yeah, I usually am like, okay, let's give it a shot. Or sometimes if it just doesn't work out schedule wise, it's like, oh, I'm not open till this month or something.
Yeah, with
But
with all of that, I mean, you must have to integrate that into your normal daily routine, though. That
yeah.
is that something where, I mean, mentioning that idea, you're not open to it. Do you like do it seasonally? Is that something that really just depends on sort of what's on your desk or what's on your plate
Yeah,
normally?
it depends. Yeah, I would say definitely depends on what my bandwidth is like. If I'm busy with other projects and I'm like, oh, I can't take this on, but if sometimes I can make time for it. It just depends on how I change my schedule around. I don't advertise. I feel like if I advertise, I probably get it more. But like, oh, if it shows up on my inbox and it if it's something I can do, then I'll most likely accept it.
Yeah, find a way to make it fit in.
Yeah, make it work. And also it's like it's very flattering that somebody would want to have an original piece to hang, which and like most of the people that I have done a commission for have displayed it in a really sweet and thoughtful way.
They care. They're
Yeah. And it's nice that people are interested in like
original.
commission of original artwork that is commissioned. It's like that's so cool.
I
Like
feel
when
like it's common anymore, that original art side of things. And like so one of the things that I've done, and I don't know if this connects with you in any shape or form, but someone told me early on, like, oh, save all your originals to your books, and someday someone might want to be a collector and collect the entirety of a book.
oh yeah,
Oh, well, that's
that,
good.
that seems interesting.
But I've never had anybody reach out saying it's like it's been long enough, and they take up so much space in the house that there's part of me that goes like, okay, at a certain point, I gotta cut bait on some of those paintings and just move them along to someone else. Get
Yeah,
them out of my location. Put it that way.
right.
Um,
Yeah, that's the one thing about yeah, just creating analog work. You end up with like piles of work. It's like, oh, I should sell these or something. It's like they're better off in somebody's home being loved than just stacked
yeah,
away somewhere.
I have a giant stack of stuff over on the side here that I need to get rid of. So if anybody's listening right now and they want an original, you reach out and tell me what piece you want, and I'll quote you a price. Because there's too many of them at this point. With the idea of the this is going back a second here. The idea of the puzzle, like thinking about the originals and whatnot. Have you had interaction with kids to see them play with the puzzle that you made?
I gave a set to my neighbors and like they sent me a video and pictures of them playing with it. So it's kind of cool to see that. And I if if I have if I know a friend that has a young child, I usually just give out a set. So it's kind of nice to see them interact with something that I created, and that
Yeah.
goes with like picture books too. It's like, oh, they love this book or something. Like we have a friend who her daughter is maybe, I want to say 4 or so. She's really young, and so like my books are like the perfect age range for her, and like it's really sweet to hear that's like, oh, we read this book again to her because it's her favorite, and it's like it's so awesome to hear that.
The there's I said this before. I'm a bit of a negative Nancy on certain things. So anytime I hear of someone liking my books, I'm like, really? There's so many
Uh,
out there that like you have so many choices and you chose mine. And
uh,
some of it's me going like, okay, what? Their parents aren't buying them more books. Their parents need to buy them more books, because mine should be the one they go to. But it is lovely to know that kids like them. I just that negative Nancy in me pops up. Hey, they're not allowed to like these books.
yeah, you won't let yourself have the win.
No, I am very much a person who, um, I said this a couple shows back that if someone asks me or says like you have a nice shirt, that it's very much my habit to go like, oh, I got it for this cheap, or
Yeah,
sale, or things of
or
this.
like or point out the stain that's on it. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah. Like it so much you can have it. I don't need it anymore. I don't. It's
that's
not
funny.
uh, or things of that sort.
Yeah,
Um,
compliments are, yeah, for me compliments are that's it's like, really, okay.
it's artists are not good at it. Okay, so now that I've said that, I'm going to do the challenge that I've said to people. Um, I've done this to people in an interview actually for teaching, to see how they react, and maybe that makes me a jerk. But I need you to brag for a minute,
Okay.
and I need you to say what you do really really well. Like
Oh, man.
someone, this is your calling card, and you're like, this is the thing that people hire me for. This is the reason why I have a place in this industry.
Yeah. Let me think. I guess for somebody that's trying to be a little bit more loose with their work recently, it's like I can be very nitpicky about tangents and things like that, or like composition. So I will say, like, I'm very picky when it comes to certain things. It's like, no,
so
it's just like you got to move it this much over, and it's going to be way better. So
you're
I'm trying to ease up a little bit on that and not like be too harsh. Or it's like, is that really necessary? Or you, so I would say maybe that's like my attention to detail is like
okay. There you go.
really spot
That's
on.
the way to phrase it.
Yeah, but it's like sometimes that gets in the way. I'm like, okay, you need to just chill out a little bit. It's not that important.
There's like you're picky, but like, yeah. Normally people don't when you go like brag about yourself. They don't go like, well, you know what? I
Yeah, I don't think like one of the times we had a handyman over. I'm like, no, that TV needs to be center, and that measurement is actually this. So I'm like,
oh
I'm like that, or it's just like, oh wow, I'm really gonna annoy this person.
I
I
don't
mean, I
know.
try to be as nice as possible, but at the same time, I'm thinking like, oh, this person probably thinks I'm just so insane right now.
Do you with teaching? Have you gone to any like your shows or anything of this school?
I didn't quite catch that. Can you repeat the
Oh,
question?
with teaching, have you gone to any of the senior shows or things like?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been to I think the last two maybe. And yeah, the graduating class for spring was really great. Um,
The reason I ask is my go-to, and I know that the students do not like it probably, is I don't, I've talked to them all year long. I've talked to them about what's good in their work and what's not good in their work, etc. But then when I go to the show, the thing that I mostly go up to them and say is, hey, your work is crooked, or there's a piece of
uh-huh.
stuff in your frame, or like it's the same thing where it's like the smallest little thing, but
Yeah.
I absolutely just have to get it out to them because it hurts inside to see that, they've missed this one element, or it's whatever it may be. And I know that that's like they're looking at me going like, Mark, shut up. This is
Yeah. I
this is
mean,
not important in the situation, but it so is to me.
Yeah,
So,
I totally kind of feel that. I feel like, I mean, I don't say anything. I've been good about not saying much, but sometimes I'm like, if I see foam cord that is not cut with
oh,
a nice blade, I'm just like, eyes twitching. My eye is going to be twitching.
that fuzzy edge where it like,
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh,
oh,
why didn't you get a nice new blade?
yes, yes.
So
Well,
that's a
like,
pet peeve of mine.
here's the trick for everybody. If you got foam core, do I have any foam core here? I do. In fact, this is a lesson, an art lesson for people. I'm going to do this. I have some scrap foam core. It's black foam core, so bear with it. Um, let me see if I can cut this in the background. Just get a piece of it. I don't need the whole thing.
I'm
Uh,
actually finally looking at what you're creating. I'm sorry. I'm
oh,
really...
in this the series of a house on vacation,
Oh, fun.
and so I got to do all these little details and whatnot throughout to add to it. But I'm building the houses so far and getting them up to speed.
Oh, I love that.
And then I'm gonna do lots of little details and things of sort. Okay, here's the trick for every foam core: is most people hold their blade at a height and try to pull. And it's not about that. It's keep it as flat as you can and do lots of little passes. If you hear it pop of any sort, it's tearing through.
Oh,
And
that
so
noise.
yeah, exactly. And so you got to have a nice sharp blade. Let me see if I can get a nice sharp blade here.
Yeah. You
This is
have to score it a few times until you
here we go.
find your groove, and then you kind of add pressure.
Yeah, and it's once you get a nice sharp blade and you just go through, you can hear a nice smooth cut, and it's not tearing, and it's I'm keeping it as flat as I can, the blade, the surface, and you end up with a nice clean cut. And so surface wise, yeah, you got to keep it flat, not out. That's your art lesson for the day. And for
It's
for my sake,
valid.
for Lisa's sake, cut your core nicely. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah, don't
Uh,
cut your finger either.
oh yes, yes. Oh,
Oh,
the amount of times I see people doing stuff like that in school that horrifies me. Of
yeah.
like walking around with like open-toed shoes in an art school, or cutting towards themselves, or those kinds of things. What have you had any like crazy things happen teaching so far?
Um, Trying to think. I feel like I'm still fairly new, but like for my children's book illustration class, I have them make a dummy, and so I had to talk about the importance of giving your art director and your artwork bleeds. So, and why they're important. So if I notice that you didn't have a bleed and you're cutting something off, I'm just like, you got like, this is
Mm,
like, please adjust this next time. Like, this is a big issue because you had like, I mean, of course, when you're working with publishing or even anything that's printed media, you want to allow for bleed so that way when it gets cropped, you don't have white bars on the side of your image essentially. So I have seen a few like book dummies that didn't have bleeds, or there's pages that were a little bit wonky, but very few times. So I think I drill it in enough that it's not that big of an issue.
yeah, I had a problem with my children's book class this last year, wherein I I don't even know how they read it this way, but uh, so I have them like I stagger the assignments. So the first assignment is about sort of character work, and the second assignment is about um, like composition and layout and that kind of stuff. And at a certain point, I give them a galley. So it's
Okay.
meaning like here's the proportions of the page you have to work with. Here's where the type has to sit, uh,
Mhm.
et cetera, et cetera. And then they have to design around it. And I give them a page, and then we later on we do the same thing. We have to do a copy book at the end, and there were quite a few of them that did the exact same proportion as the layout assignment I gave before. And I was like, why'd you choose this side? You could choose a size that's maybe a little bit better suited for the shapes that you're going to do in your image. And they
Yeah.
said, well, that's the size you gave us. And I'm like, no, that was that one assignment. Following that template that I gave them for every assignment going forward at that point, and not tailoring it each assignment to sort of the specifics of uh, the how do I'm trying to figure out how to say this. They didn't tailor the specifics of what they were doing to the project. They were tailoring it to some previous iteration of
Oh
shape,
yeah,
size, and scale. That's like, no, no,
yeah. I I totally see what you mean. Or it's like I do. I have a classic, well, the traditional 32 page book dummy, and I have a mock-up of what the guide would look like for that. And they use, I've had some students like use the exact same dimensions that I have for that little mock-up, even though I have like an open dimensions for the project. So I'm like,
yeah,
you don't have to stick to this one. You can
yeah, yeah, yeah.
actually, you can kind of work with whatever dimensions that you can that that you can replicate on a printer, because they have to print it at the end. So it's like it makes sense to work with your the printer that you're gonna
Yeah.
use for the final product. So
It's
like
still
don't go yeah, you can't go too big, otherwise you're gonna have trouble finding a, a printer that's gonna print this.
what the when you are making your work, do you end up like doing prints of it towards the end to make sure that colors and things of that sort match?
um, so I don't do that anymore, but it's nice when publishers are able to send you um,
Proofs.
proofs of your book. So it's I I rely on that, and then I try to make as best of adjustments as I can, and just kind of be okay with the final result based on those adjustments. Because sometimes you can't replicate gouache in
Yeah,
printed form, so you had to find a happy like medium where you're happy enough that it's like it's a good quality for what the book is. That
that's
makes sense.
there's a limit of how much you can sit there and futz over it because it's never going to be an exact copy
Right.
of what you're doing, especially with gouache because the colors can
Yeah,
be so wildly different in some of those cases.
for
Uh,
sure.
have you found like, is there a certain setting that you work with in Photoshop that you're like, oh, this is the thing that does it, or is it?
Um, it's always different, but I mean, I have a when I scan, like I use an Epson, I think it's the Epson's V600. That's the scanner I use, and I have a
Yeah.
setting that I've kind of adjusted to my liking, and that's a good starting off point. Um, because then I will start like editing it color wise in Photoshop
So
and trying to get it as best possible to the original, even like, but keep in mind that it's going to be printed in CMYK.
yeah, for anybody that cares, the Epson V600, that's the same scanner I got. It's the same scanner I recommend to anybody that is looking to get a scanner. It's a workhorse. It sort of is a solid quality scanner. I've had people ask me like, what do you scan with? And I've heard that same scanner from so many people. It does the trick.
Yeah, totally. It's really nice. I mean, I mean, there's the bigger one too, but I think that one's like 3 grand or so. But this one's probably I don't know, what did you pay for it? I've had mine for like several years, so I feel like might have paid between 300 to 500, or maybe a little bit more. I don't know.
I think they go for about 350, something like that nowadays. I have had a version of that same scanner before, and it lasted me, 20 years. And so I've upgraded to the V600 probably about 10 years ago, and it still works absolutely fine. And you do not need, and I think this is sort of what you're hitting at, you do not need a $3,000 scanner to
Mm.
survive. You need a scanner that does a good quality scan, and Photoshop can piece together a lot of stuff for you. And so I don't know if you do the same thing where
Oh yeah,
it's
the automate
yeah,
feature. Yeah.
automate and you get the photos together and then you're done.
Yep.
It's pretty simple. You don't have to do a ton. And so that idea of don't go out your way to buy something huge unless you have money to throw away. Let's put it that way. I mean, I
Yeah.
have scanners at school. We have the huge scanners, and I could bring my stuff in and do that, but I don't need it. It's not necessary to get done what I need to get done. And so it's easy enough just to scan the stuff at home and
Oh, sorry.
walk away. Um, with that,
with your studio setup, I mean, since we're manners, which is probably the most exciting thing that people want to hear about. Yeah, no, actually, I think it is something that's like important for people to hear. But I know that there's probably people who are like interested in the art making. But I do want to hear a little bit about sort of studio space and what is necessary in your studio space, whether it be digital stuff like that, or are there things that are just in that space because they make it easier to work?
Well, this office, I mentioned it's like the second bedroom of the house. It's probably like 11 feet by 11 feet. So it's fairly small. So I have my desk, computer, the Cintiq, some shelving, which I'm trying to switch out because I'm like as I'm teaching children's books, I'm like acquiring more
Mm-hmm.
books. So I'm like,
Yep.
oh, I need to make room for these. So I'm looking into that situation. It's pretty basic. I would love to have some flat files, but like one of those fancy scanners, like some good flat files are super expensive.
Yeah.
Um,
The years
so
down the line situation.
what was that last part?
That's years down the line situation for
Yeah.
me and a lot.
Um, so when the time comes, I'll be so excited and I'll be bragging about flat files.
They fill up quickly is the problem. That's the only thing that I've seen. Like we have them at school again, and I use them for some stuff, but in a matter of a year, you can fill that up, and then all of a sudden you're like, how do you manage then? Because you have more artworks than that.
Right. Especially if you work analog.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's gonna fill up quickly. I mean, I think IKEA has their version of a flat file, but they can get a little flimsy after a while. Like I have one of those in my closet, um, and I just keep some like paper and like tools in there, so that way it's kind of out of the way.
I
And
actually have a dresser as my flat file,
oh,
like
cool.
enough dresser, and it works fine, but it's not flat, so you can put too much in it. Let's put it that way, and then all of a sudden you're out of space just as easily, and it's hard to reach down in there and get other things out at this point. So, um, with are there like trinket things that you have in your studio? So like things that are like not um, not necessary for art making, but necessary for happiness and,
Um,
and joy.
let me think. Well, I have definitely music. We have a little music box. What are they called? The little Marshall speakers. And
Okay.
then, so that's nice. I mean, definitely artwork from artists that I admire. So like people like Carson Ellis. I just got her, or earlier this year I got her the calendar that she created. So it's like that's kind of nice to flip the month over and see the different illustrations that she's created. Artwork from friends. What else? I need to fill up the space a little bit more. I feel like I'm really hesitant to put certain like things up because I'm like, oh, what if I want to put something up or change it out or something? I don't know. Or like drilling on walls is always just an issue for me, especially in an old home because it's like the slats, and so you don't
Oh
know
yeah.
if you're getting in the right spot. And because our walls are stucco, like it ends up just making a bigger hole than what it needs to be.
Yeah. It's not it's horsehair plaster. It's yeah.
Yeah, whatever they used in the 1920s.
Yeah, yeah. Besides asbestos, yeah, that's
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah. And
No,
toxic paint.
that is not unheard of. I think in a lot of situations where the like even in my I have artwork that still needs to go up in my studio, and my hopefully my wife isn't listening to this. Um, he will complain that I have not put it up yet because I framed a bunch. I just haven't put them up, and then like we're even thinking about we have a bunch of like original artwork up in the house, and then eventually it's going to be we're already at this point where we're going like we need to change it out. We need to mix it up and do something a little different now, and
Yeah.
it's it's a lot of effort to do something like that. So yeah, it gets a little tricky at times. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Um, are
definitely.
are you with the studio space that you have? Are you at sort of full capacity at this point?
Um, I think I'm just wanting to rearrange certain things. Like I have a bookshelf behind me that's just it's maybe like 32 inches and in like it's maybe 70 inches high. I'm kind of wanting to double it or at least make more use of the space by maybe putting like shelving on the wall, like actually,
Built in.
yeah, something like that. Like I don't know. It's such a weird shape that's like, oh, I need it to function, but I also want it to look good. And it's like, and just committing is really hard too. It's like, but what if it works better on this wall? And I always try to sketch something out to see if it works or not.
We had
Um,
my father is fairly handy with construction stuff,
oh,
and
nice.
came and helped us build built-in shelves in my studio.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sounds lovely, and it is. There's enough there for a healthy collection. The problem is we've gotten to a point where now our collection has outgrown that,
Oh, gotcha.
and now it's trickier because it's like, okay, what do we do? Where do we put all these books, and like how do you manage a another bookshelf in the space if you have a built-in as your sort of go-to setup? Now I have to figure out like, okay, well, where else can I put books? So I'm almost tempted to say, don't do a built-in because you're gonna fill it up, and then what do you do?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think I've been looking into, I don't know if you know I think it's a Swedish brand, but the string shelving system. It's kind of a modular kind of system where you can kind of rearrange it the way you want it. So I'm like, oh, I should look. I think next time there's a sale, I should just go for it and just commit myself to it. So that
Yeah,
way I can
I don't know that it's string.
string, yeah,
It's
shelving or
is it strings that's holding the thing up?
no, it's like wire.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's why, and you can get it in different shades of wood and even white, but it just seemed like the right aesthetic for me because it's like I want simple, clean lines, but I also want it to look very stylish
Yeah.
and function as a bookshelf because I know I'm going to fill it even more so.
Wait, does your house does it have a lot of uh, mod or what's the term? The Mary Blair aesthetic. Uh,
Oh, kind of like those. I mean, it's a 1925 Spanish bungalow. So I kind of like, I guess the aesthetic I'm going for is like Alexander Gerard because it's like mid-century, but it also kind of nods at some of the traditional stuff. I don't know, where it's like I think of his bungalows, the hotel, or no, he had a home in New Mexico. So I'm like, okay, I think that's what I kind of want to go for.
but it is mid-century sort of.
I think the furnishing is, but like with a nod to Spanish,
Gotcha.
like some China, yeah, because it's like we want to keep the Spanish influence of the home, but also bring in like a little bit of mid-century. So I'm like, oh, okay, like a Gerard thing.
With especially with the area that you live in, like maintaining that sort of historical stuff.
Yeah.
It's got to be important. Like, I mean, where we are in New England, there are houses where you literally can't um, do certain things. Like, you can't hit a certain color because it is a historical landmark,
Oh, okay.
like the 1700s, and so
Wow.
there's times where there's limitation. Put it that way.
Yeah.
But,
No, for sure. I mean, our house is unfortunately it was like flipped, and so we're trying to like bring back some of its character instead of it being like the sad gray furnishings. So I feel like naturally with some of the artwork that we acquired from friends, it just ends up being colorful. So it's like it eliminates all the gray and the fixer upper type aesthetic that we kind of encountered when we got the house.
it wasn't the property in there and did it.
What's that? Oh,
It wasn't the Property Brothers, right?
no,
That's all I know about
somebody probably trying to emulate them.
those guys. They come in and they turn it around quick. Um,
Gosh.
is the area that you live in at this cultural corner? in the area that you live in, I know that it's you said it was an hour away from LA. Is it outside the price range that LA talks about all the time?
It's probably, I mean, the homes have gotten substantially more expensive, but I always feel like it's like a third cheaper, or even half is not like
Yeah.
half the price. So like $1 million home in Los Angeles is probably like 500 grand or something.
Oh, that's not bad. I just when I
So
hear
it's like,
this in LA, I'm like, how does anybody afford
beats
a
me.
house there?
It's crazy. You either inherit it or you come from really wealthy
Yeah.
family. I don't know.
It's,
Um,
I mean, there are areas here too in New England that are the same way though, where it's like, the amount that a house goes for this area is ridiculous. I remember I looked at uh, this this is called talking real estate.
oh
Uh,
gosh, I didn't think we were going to go into
oh, we're going into this now.
that.
The equivalent of when we first bought our house here, I looked at my brother lived in Texas at the time, and I was like, let me look how much of a house we could get in Texas. And like we could get a pool and marble floors and like all this stuff. And it's just the cost of living difference between the environments was so sad.
Oh,
But at the same time, I like where I live. And so we put up with the prices. Um, with have you with living out there, did you get out to the East Coast ever for like New York for some of the events
I
and stuff?
have, I've been wanting to come back and revisit. I think the last time I went was in 2019. Um, so it's been a while, and I'm like, oh, I'm itching to go back to visit New York and maybe just kind of just yeah experience it, because I haven't traveled in a while. I think as illustrators sometimes like you have to remind yourself like you're allowed to travel and
Mhm.
experience the world.
Just travel for fun sometimes. You don't,
Yeah, it doesn't
especially
always have
a
to be for
teacher,
work.
you probably don't have a super strict schedule that you have to like. I mean, obviously there's deadlines and things of the sort, but you don't have to. Sometimes you can get away for a little bit periodically, and yeah, take advantage of it. Uh, I'm even right now I'm on sabbatical, and so I don't go back for a bit, and I'm excited because like people are like, oh, are you traveling somewhere? And right now we're not traveling that much with the family because we're building a deck. It's not
Oh,
exciting. Like come fall, if I want to go somewhere for the day, I can just go somewhere for the day, and they
nice.
can't stop me. Um, that I know of. They may come and haunt me at that point and say, "You're not allowed to go visit fun places." But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. Um, uh, with all of the teaching that you've done, have you considered? I mean, it was early on. Someone asked about Skillshare and things of that sort. Have you done teaching outside of the collegiate world? Like, have you done workshops at?
No, I have not. And I think that's something that I'd like to explore, because I feel like a lot of people are doing that more often. And it's like, that kind of sounds fun to just, and also it's like, it gives a sense of community, which is kind of cool.
Get out there and sort of. I bet you there's a ton of people that would love to take a class with you that may have not don't have the opportunity and aren't nearby or whatever.
Oh,
That would,
yeah. No, that's definitely something to consider. Um, and as I build up my confidence, I feel like maybe that's something I would circle back in a future conversation.
yeah.
Right now, I'm cleaning up these edges, if anybody's wondering what I'm doing. I feel like it's really, my hand is a little bit like shaky, so I'm like, oh, it's getting a little wonky edged.
This is
So
this is the. There's always a time in my project where it gets real boring, and I'm just doing like a bunch of pattern or things of the sort that I'm sure people look at it like, why are we watching this? This
watch,
being built or this setup for a half
yeah,
hour as I'm just trying to lay down some texture. Um, but
yeah,
difference, it adds character.
yeah.
Um, with the book stuff that you have going on, is there a plethora of books in waiting at this point, like stuff that needs to be
Um, well, I
published?
mentioned I'm just finalized I sent finals to my publisher, so I'm waiting back to hear if there's any changes. So I'm kind of like waiting for that email, but also just kind of being open to just any work right now. It's like, it's nice that it's like it's a little bit like a transitional phase. So it's like, oh, I could do almost anything right now. So it's like, it's just a matter of what I'm interested in. But I would like to start like being a little bit more strict with like sitting down and trying to write because I feel like I always complain that I don't have time, and right now I have the time, so I should take advantage of that.
Yeah, jump at the chance to
Yeah.
get out there and do that kind of stuff. Does agent, are they willing to help with you trying to write at this point? Like, is that something that's in their specialty, or is that
You said an agent, or I didn't quite catch
with your agent? Are they
Oh, I
who
mean,
excited about the writing side of things, or are they more of an art agent at this point?
I feel like they're more an art agent, but I feel like I could probably approach them and ask, "Hey, what are your thoughts?"
Yeah.
So I guess I'll cross that bridge when I have to, and just see who's open to looking at my work at that time.
I mean, Heflin Reps is one of those reps I've known about for years. I mean, they've been, and I'm not trying to call them old in this situation, but it's one of those ones like when I got out of school, I remember hearing about Heflin Reps, and I don't know if it's changed hands. I don't know if it's the same folks, but they have a reputation as a very good agency.
Oh, that's awesome.
In my book, how did you actually land the agent?
Well, I had met her at my instructor's birthday party, and we kind of hit it off, and I emailed her back and forth, just kind of interested in representation and kind of seeing if that was an option for me and if she would consider me. And luckily she wasn't, I'm gonna guess she was impressed, and it's worked out since.
I just said to someone in a mentorship yesterday, we were talking about agents and landing agents and whatnot, and I was guesstimating that probably about 90, I would say about 90%, maybe 95% of the people that have agents got them through some weird thing like that, like meeting someone at a birthday party, or these like random occurrences that have nothing to do with the standard like querying process, and it just happened.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, I feel like I have the privilege because she was connected with my instructor, Paul Rogers, who's an amazing illustrator, and he was a great mentor to me. So it was nice that maybe he was like a person that was like, yeah, she's good enough or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
vouched for you.
Yeah, vouched. Yeah.
But that's like, I feel like that's almost more common than the standard sort of just blind call query letter of having people that are like rooting for you or are, get you some connection through networking more so than just a blind outreach to someone on the internet. And so like to me, it means not necessarily that you shouldn't do the other like querying and whatnot, but networking and friends and being social in this industry pays off.
Yeah. Just trying to be a good person.
Yeah. Be a good person.
Be a good, likable person. Treat people with respect.
Nice. Be and cordial, and people will gravitate towards you. If you were going back and sort of looking at your history and whatnot, if you could go back, this is the classic school question. If you could go back and do something else, or like tell yourself one thing to do differently at this point, whether it be like get an agent earlier or things of the sort, is there something along that lines that you're like, oh, this is the thing I would do first?
I feel like this probably has been said before, but it's like, don't try to be too perfect with your stuff. Your stuff is probably good enough already. It's just like, do the outreach, whether it's art directors or anybody you want to work with, and just kind of see if, put yourself out there, I guess. And like, you might think you're not ready, but you just need to just jump in.
Yeah, that's as hard as it is for artists, get over the anxiety. And I the idea that art directors or agents are somehow special or different and somehow should be held up to a different esteem than your everyday person, I think is a false notion. And just go out and be friendly and be cool. Just be a
Yeah.
cool. You'll be fine.
Well, sometimes I like for myself, like I would think like, oh, my website isn't ready or this isn't good enough. And it's just like, you just got to make the steps forward and just,
Yep.
your stuff is good enough and just kind of like, just jump in.
The way that I've been telling all my mentees basically is that there is no right time. You can try to plan it as best you can and say, well, the next year I'll be ready at this time. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
at that point and say you're not ready then too. And so just start. And
Yeah.
the worst thing that happens, what, someone doesn't respond to you?
Right.
Like,
I feel like, yeah, our community is everybody's pretty chill as it is. So I haven't dealt with anybody that's been difficult or mean. Everybody's pretty nice.
I have not. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I was there was maybe one person I dealt with that was not, I wouldn't say mean, but just not like fun to work with.
Gotcha.
But that doesn't mean they were a bad person. It just we didn't vibe. That's about as much as you're going to get in that situation with me. Is like, it doesn't. You don't need a ton of, or people have enough niceness in them that little things like that, are the difference between like, oh, I want to work with them again or not. It's just like, did we vibe versus this person was a jerk to me and they pushed me over and they made me feel bad. That's not the thing that's happening in the situation or in the art world. And you think, wait, I wanted to ask you about something. I read somewhere something Scout.
Oh, yeah, Clover Scout.
Clover Scout?
Yeah, it's a little collective of I'm part of with two other illustrator friends. We're in a bit of a hiatus right now, but we kind of all three of us are illustrators, and we kind of took Clover Scout, this collective we came up with, as an opportunity to create things that we wanted to see our work adapted to. So if greeting cards, for instance, like let's create a series of greeting cards with this theme or something like that. So it's basically a collective of other illustrators. So the other illustrators are Ellen Surrey, who's also a children's book illustrator and works in Gouache, and my friend Patrick Ruby, who is a designer and also educator and worked for the LA Times. So yeah.
And have you gotten anything out of it in the sense of like, has any company come forward and said like, we got to work with you alls?
We've done work with like I don't know if you've heard of the Bob Baker Marionette Theater. It's a puppet theater in Los Angeles, and sometimes we'll be asked to work with them on things. But also I like that it functions as like a critique group and kind of a way to kind of like motivate ourselves into creating something really exciting. So I like it in that regard where it's like it's a good reliable group that you can kind of talk illustration and just really challenge each other and inspire each other.
Yeah, it's not solely about jobs. It's about like community as much as it are you going to get work out of said
I feel like it's more so like just the relationship and just being inspired by each other. That's I value a lot, because I feel like sometimes we'll have an idea and we'll bounce off each other and it just becomes a much better idea as like the three of us start chiming in. So I like that aspect of the group.
Is there with that idea of working with the grouping like that, is there projects that you've done that have turned into physical things, like your work on something, whether it be through a publisher or a company or things of the sort? Have you gone out and like made t-shirts or
yeah, the one that comes to mind, this was something that like we all wanted to do, but we wanted to create glassware, kind of like reminiscent of like the 1950s, like those like fancy cocktail glasses.
Yeah.
And we created a glass design. All three of us had input in it, and we got it manufactured. We found a printer, and yeah, we got it produced, and that was really exciting to create. And also, it kind of made us put the production hat on, and understanding like working with the manufacturer and like how to submit designs and what they're looking for. So that was really cool.
With all of the sort of variety of things that you've done, and looking back, sort of throughout your history, is there a market or something that it's like a loaded statement here, a loaded question? Is there something you're like, man, this is the one thing I got to pin down at some point, and related or not? Is there anything where you're like, oh, this is the last thing that I need to do in order to feel like I've accomplished, or what have you?
I feel like it's always changing and growing, but like I've always wanted to do like a Dia de los Muertos collection for like a big company. I think that would be really fun to do. Like, I know Target used to do it. I don't know if they're still doing that, but that would have been awesome to do. But other companies do similar things, so I would love to do a collection of something and see illustration on like different products and whatnot.
I mean, Target did those birds, those little felt birds. You know what I'm talking about? That they did like seasonal things, and I know they did a de la Muerte one with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know things have changed a lot with Target in recent years, so I don't know what their plans are, but I do value when they would do that because it was always fun to see what illustrators would come up with.
There was a student of ours that went and worked for Target, from the design department that we have at school, and had a bunch of stuff made. And I don't remember. I feel like there was someone that we know that was. It may not have been a student that I had. It may have been someone else that was associated with some of that stuff. That was the Dia de Muertos. I can't even say it.
Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de Muertos. Day of the Dead. I should be able to say that at this point.
I heard. Well, you can say Dia de Muertos or Dia de los Muertos, but I think it's mostly Dia de Muertos.
Dia de Muertos. Okay, I'm gonna massacre it.
It's okay.
And so, bear with me if I do a poor job of enunciating.
No worries. I butcher things all the time, and my students are very forgiving.
Oh, wait, can you speak Spanish then?
I can. Although I feel like I've gotten very slow in the way I talk it. I mean, I communicate with my parents because that's their first language, and like that's how I learn how to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So like over the years and being on my own, I'm like, oh no, I'm losing some of it. So I'm trying to make sure I like don't lose it.
Well, wait, where's your family from? Like, where's the history?
So they're both from the city of Hidalgo, Mexico, which is, I want to say it's like 2 to 3 hours outside of Mexico City.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Did you grow up there, or were you always LA?
I was always lived in California. So I grew up here in Southern California, but they immigrated in like the early 80s, so a few years before I was born. So yeah.
And have you been back to that region to sort of poke?
Not since I was 14. Like I remember we visited as a family when I was 14, but I've been wanting to go back and visit because I feel like I would have a much bigger appreciation for a lot of the cultural stuff and the arts and things like that, and just
versus a snotty 14-year-old going, I don't want to do anything.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I got a now new 13-year-old upstairs, and so we're getting to that point where we're gonna lose out on the opportunities to go on those fun adventures to places like that. Yeah. And he won't be as excited one day. He's good right now. Someday it will be just a iPad and no getting out in the where we vacation. Is there like since parents are from there, is
Mhm.
like stuff in your house? Is any of that from the region, the sort of historical?
Wait, I didn't catch the middle part of that.
Oh, just saying, like, I know that you have some like Spanish colonial house or whatever. I forget what the phrasing was that you used.
Oh,
But is there any of the stuff in your house, like any of the pieces of artwork or anything of the sort from that region in particular?
no. So the only thing I own of my like family heirlooms are these two bags that my grandmother's knit, and I don't know the name of the style of knitting, but it's so cool to have like something that they made with their hands. But
Yeah.
it's like the only like thing of family heirlooms that I have. But and they're stored away, and it's only because I started noticing like it getting dust all over the place, and so I'm like, oh, I should take better care of these. But I would like to display them a little bit better.
That's still like I'm trying to think if I have anything from my grandma's house here. I doubt that I do.
Yeah.
Um,
And I didn't really grow up knowing my grandmothers because by the time I was born, they were living in Mexico. But we would visit them when we did family trips out there. But I didn't get to like really have that close relationship with them. But so it's, yeah, everything's just based off of what I know from my parents.
yeah. Um, and then sort of thinking about that idea of sort of the history of the what did you say it was some sort of tapestry, but
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what's the official name for it, but it's almost like a square satchel, but they have like these really beautiful designs on it, and everything was done by hand. So it's like the amount of craftsmanship to bring it back to earlier conversation. Like it's so cool to see that, and just like that's a lot of time invested. That's a lot of talent there. So maybe there's a little bit of that.
I
Um,
wonder I wonder like in a case like that of at some point is there a way to like pay tribute to something like that in a book where it's like here's a
yeah,
pattern or to the process or something of the sort that can be like not necessarily hidden in a book but sort of put in there in a way where it's like it's not front and center, but for those in the know, those in your family can go like, oh, that's grandma's
yeah,
thing of some sort. um
right. I know I should include it in some way. I need to take good pictures of it so that way I have that. But like I would like to display them, but I feel like it has to be through glass or something. But then again, it's like, oh, I want it to be tangible and like for people to feel it instead of it being behind some glass thing. So
well,
for now, they're just kind of stored away.
how old are they, like?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, they might be from like the 80s, maybe a little bit earlier, but
Okay. So it's
it's
not
still
like a glass to like preserve them in some
no. Yeah, I
controlled way.
guess just to make sure I don't get dust on it and like be exposed to the elements.
Yeah, gotcha. Um, so one of the things I ask people, especially, you talked a little bit about the space. I asked you about some of the space, etc. But what does your collection look like right now? Your art, your book collection, the stuff that you've collected throughout the years, and obviously you're collecting more for teaching, I assume. But uh,
Yeah.
what is it like? Do you have I mean, is it ridiculous amounts? Is it
I mean,
a
it's probably a small amount. Well, like I mentioned earlier, just collecting more children's books and picture books and things like that, just because I like having them as examples. And sometimes, like a library request might not be as quick as I needed it, so I'm like, oh, I should actually own this book. Um, so just growing it in that sense. But like any library, it's an ongoing process of it growing. So.
I don't know if you've watched some of the most recent versions of the show here, but my wife and I have been going to library sales
Oh, cool.
and buying uh, ridiculous amounts of picture books at this point. And so, like, um, I think we're upwards of, in the last, I'm going to say at this point, 5 weeks, we have purchased probably about 90 or so picture books. Now,
Wow, that's cool.
95% of them are for $1. and the rest are, $2. And some of them still have the like library sticker on them, but a
Hmm.
bunch of them are stickerless, which is lovely because it means I don't have to take the sticker off um, or try to peel the sticker off. But we have built our collection up where it's cumbersome now. It's like there's too many
Oh.
books, but it's totally worth it. As a teacher, I like, is this a book I would normally get? No, but does it teach something that I can use in class? Like, oh, this is a book that really, features great color work, or the pagination is really fabulous, and so
Okay.
it's worth it in that sense of just to add to a teaching collection, which is probably dangerous, honestly. It just builds up so quickly because of that. Um, but it's I don't know if they have the same thing out there, but we
Yeah,
have.
I'll have to pay attention to the next books. I feel like there's definitely some, but I'm like always late to catch them. But I should go check them out and see if I could find a library sale somewhere.
Just ask my wife; she can find them for you. She'll tell you when. She knows when they all are. Trust me. Every single one of them. In fact, I think there's one Friday, there's one Saturday, and there might be one Sunday that we gotta try to hit. But it's becoming a problem. Let's put it that way. Don't tell the IRS. Although
Oops.
I am gonna claim them. Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
they're for your work, so
yeah. Yeah.
that's
Totally.
fair.
Totally. They're not for anything other than that. It's just for my work. Um, with just to give you a heads up, I'm just looking. We have about an hour left
Okay.
off, just so you know, in case you have, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, can I get this done in the hour?
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I got to start planning and figuring out how to get this all.
I'm gonna try to get some of these details and maybe I'll finish it up later. But I think you can see I've been shifting around. Sorry, I've been like bringing it closer to me, but hopefully people can see what I'm doing. Doing some dry brushing on the back hooves. I'm saying
Yeah.
that wrong, and so that way it kind of gives a little bit of depth. Um,
My wife just yelled something. What was that, Lauren? I think it was booksales.com or something like that.
okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Um,
And
but
it's like, is it regional or is it like?
no, I think that's a national thing that she's talking about. But in our case, like, it's just we're in small town New England. Oh, booksalefinder.com. There you go. Um, but as a teacher, it's a great resource to just add to the collection without having to spend a fortune and
Yeah,
always having to rely on libraries to get books
yeah,
in. Like you said, the interlibrary loans is not always the fastest way.
yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Uh, I forgot what I was talking about.
We were talking about time at one point, but I don't know if that's.
Yeah, that's not. No, what was it? Remember, doesn't matter. Um, with you said that you're a slow worker, and you said something about, if I remember correctly, 8. Or no, it was a week roughly for a potentially a spread, somewhere in that range. Is that with digital too, or is that with just traditional?
Like, I guess I'm basing it off the last book project, but that's only because it was really detailed. Like it was like maybe 3 illustrations per spread, so it's different little vignettes, and sometimes the colors aren't working the way I want them to, and so it's a little bit of like changing it up here and there. But
Yeah.
I when it comes to painting in gouache, like I do get a little bit quicker. But there's like the Frida book that I worked on was heavily layered, just was as far as like lots of things going on in the background and in the foreground, and even there was just a lot of imagery. So it's like, oh, I need to make my images simpler.
And wait a second, how many biography books have you done?
Let me think. So I did the AOC one,
Huh?
the Frida Kahlo one. I did some early reader books. One was on President Barack Obama, and one was on Harriet Tubman. And the same one, I'm trying to think. That first book might count as biography because there was some like recognizable figures, but I feel like individual biographies, maybe around 4.
That's a.
Maybe.
Do you like them?
I do. Um, it's kind of I do like capturing likenesses and like simplifying somebody's form into like my version of what I how I see them. So that's it is fun to work on them.
Yeah, I didn't mean that accusatorially. You like
No,
those things? How dare you? Um, but it's one of those things where like there's a different mindset to doing the research and you know
totally.
the likeness and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the likeness part is the hardest. It's like somebody's gonna be like that doesn't look like that person.
Someone from that family is going to come forward and say, "How dare you?" AOC is going to
She was
point.
yeah. I had difficulty capturing her for sure, and like so I'm like I hope I did it okay, did an
Have
okay job.
you seen the book?
I'm sorry.
Do you know if she's seen the book, AOC?
So I feel like she probably. So I don't know exactly if she has, but I've heard from the author that she has seen it. So I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense. I
Yeah.
know she was invited to an event, but I don't know if she ended up going to it. Um, so being on the West Coast, it's like I'm just kind of hearing back just what is said at those events in New York or the Bronx area. So I'm like, okay.
You don't you don't know if she like saw it and then threw it in the trash right away,
Hopefully not.
or yeah.
Yeah, I think she's so awesome. So I'm like, oh, I hope I did an okay job.
I when that one came in, it was sort of a no-brainer. I mean, most of them are probably no-brainers in general, but that one in particular, like just as a subject matter, a time sort of topical thing, seems like it would be just a like. Of course, this makes sense to work on of some.
Yeah, I mean, I was super excited when that opportunity came. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's, I don't want to let anybody down, especially her.
With are you and I'm not going to get into it big time, but are you someone that follows politics?
As best as I can. I mean, I'm not the most informed and about a lot of things, but I try my best to be on it. But yeah, I mean, I voted yesterday.
Okay, that was more, oh yeah, that was that the mayoral or no the governor.
We had a governor one, and there's some local stuff too. So make sure
Like I don't want to get into
to be
politics
a good.
of
Of course,
who you're voting for or anything of the sort, but more
no,
the idea of if you're going to tackle a political book that's a or a book
def-
that features a political figure that does like it
yeah,
probably helps if you have some understanding of
yeah. You have to be informed enough.
yeah
Um,
yeah you can't just wing that of
yeah,
some
and also it was like even approaching it was like it felt like an origin story book because we go into her upbringing and how a lot of her policy is based off of how she grew up and what the neighborhoods she encountered and whatnot. So it was very eye opening and just like also like really cool to like understand a story like that.
that's I only did one biography and it was on Darwin, so it wasn't as topical as yours. I didn't get to I don't know if he's ever read it. Let's put it that way. Pretty sure he had.
That's
That's it.
funny.
Um, with what's next on the horizon book-wise for you? Do you have?
Um, Nothing right now. So I'm enjoying the little bit of like, oh, I get time to play.
Yeah,
So, but as soon as hopefully, if something comes up, then I'd be really excited to kind
yeah,
of jump into something. But I'm enjoying not having something immediately, other than like if I need to go over files for the one I just submitted.
yeah. I mean, you're sort of in the same ballpark where I am. It sounds like where it's like contracts are not as vibrant as they once were. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
The industry has slowed down a bit, and I am feeling it a little bit at this point. But it's a matter of time. It's not a matter of
Yeah, and also I feel like the right project will come.
yeah,
It's always when it's like when you think that you are like, oh, I wish I had a project, but it's like just enjoy the moment and something's gonna come by. Just
yep, yep. No, this is my time to relax and get the things done that I needed to get done. I don't even know how many years ago at this
Yeah.
point. So this has been a lovely reprieve of sorts, and
Yeah.
making me think about other options that I was not thinking about previously of some sort. With I'm trying to hold on one second. I'm trying to paint a relatively straight line here.
It's always hard getting the straight line.
I know.
I'm terrified. So I'm gonna do this eye fairly soon, but I'm so terrified to work on it. It's
I'm
so intimidating.
yeah. I'm at this point where like I'm getting on to final details on this, and I'm like very nervous that I'm gonna put something just wrong and ruin the whole thing because it's been.
Oh, I had to take a look at yours. Ooh, that's looking
Forget
awesome.
forget.
I
And so
like the binocular one. So cute.
pasta. Yeah, I gotta do faces and little people. There's gonna be little people in the dash line, but I'm hoping I can get it done. We got about 50 minutes. I think
Okay.
get close. I think I.
Okay.
So,
Um, yeah, you're much quicker worker than I am. I feel like I'm like, oh.
oh,
I try to pick an image that I was like, I think I could finish it, but I'm like, I might not finish this because I want to do a texture over this.
I am generally a like a single sitting sort of situation wherein
I
if I
envy that.
illustrate something, I don't want it to last longer than a single sitting. And so like my average spread uh, range for time is generally around 6 hours max.
Oh my gosh, I
Like that.
envy that.
Yeah. It doesn't mean they're good. It just means they're 6 hours. Um, and so it's a matter of I I I feel like there's a limit before I start to go like, oh, this image is boring, or I'm not excited by it anymore, or what have you. And so that's that range is about 6 hours for me. And so I change my aesthetic to match that. I could spend hours and hours on other things, but I just wouldn't enjoy it of some sort. So
I feel like I do a lot of plan. I have to make myself do a lot of planning because of gouache. Because I'm like, I need to make sure the colors look the way I want to look.
do you do color proofs and or not color proof, but color samples and things like that for your clients?
I'm trying to think. For the Frida one, I did, but it was like a digital color study of like each how of all the spreads. So it's like it's almost gridded out and just like with rough color digitally applied. And I use it as like kind of a guide for myself. Otherwise, I'm like I don't want to screw up on a painting or like not be happy with the colorization and the values and whatnot.
Yeah, it's
So
something like that. I imagine there's also like you're trying to attend to a there's a specific color palette and things tied to her, and trying to make sure that that is spot on in that situation. They're not, you're not throwing them some random curveball that they're not expecting.
yeah, because I want to avoid like mess or starting over.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm trying to see where my line art is at. Sometimes I have to put my hand out to see it in like the shadow so I could make out where my line work is at because I penciled it in.
I am at this point where like, yeah, I'm like having to, I don't know how much you've seen me spin my artwork. I don't know if you do that too, but I'm like turning this thing, trying to get the best angle at all times. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm constantly spinning this thing, trying to get the angle and the to get the best line or whatever I need out of it.
Gotcha.
At
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, my eye didn't come out as well as I wanted to, but I'll see if I could make it work.
I got to do a lot of details here. We'll get this done. We're gonna manage.
Is it till, well, it's 2:13 here.
13, so it would be until 3. No, wait a second. I started at 2, and so it goes until 6 here. So your time at 2 would have been 11. So yeah,
Yes.
it's 4. That's the max they put on it. It's only
Gotcha.
be 4 hours of live, essentially. And so once we hit that, it will literally cut us off.
I see. Well, I might, let me see what time it is, because I could probably do another 15 to 20 minutes. If
Okay.
that's okay.
No pressure. I don't, if you need to go, you force you staying longer than what's comfortable, but I want to make sure that we both are cognizant of where the time is. So if you're trying to get it done in that time frame.
Yeah. I was just trying to see how far I can get. I was actually surprised I was able to get this much done. I'm like, oh.
I mean, or that you thought you were going to wait.
I thought I was gonna get still be working in the background. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, if I manage to get to the actual donkey, that'd be great.
So you are if that's your thought process, you are a slow worker then, because you are worried about just getting the background done.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am a very slow worker.
Yep.
Let me think. What do I want to do? I wanted to put texture on this, but let me see if I can do that. Do I darker or lighter?
Yeah, I'm so scared to put in certain details. It's like, again, if it's like just the wrong color, I have to do a bunch of fixes, and so I'm trying to figure out what's the best solution.
This is like my crappiest brush. It's been through a lot, and I love using it for dry brushing. That's the only reason I keep it around.
Do you have Michael's out where you are?
Yeah.
The craft store. Did you have AC Moore?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
AC Moore is a competitor, or was a competitor of Michael's. It was sort of a craft.
Oh.
And when they went out of business, in one of the plazas near us, they were selling all sorts of stuff, including the brush displays.
No way.
And so I bought, I think it probably even says the price on the side. It probably, where is it? Oh, $20. Nope, I got it for $10. Like one of the ones where it's like it has all the different brushes you can put in it and whatnot. And so I have a ton of brushes in that, but it allows me to keep a section of all the old brushes that are the ones that are the dry brush.
Mm-hmm.
So I can very easily go and grab those and go like, okay, here's what we're doing. We're going to use this brush specifically for, this technique or whatever it is. And so I don't have to go and destroy a brush. I can hold on to those ones and know exactly where they are at all times. And so if you ever see one of those stores going out of business,
Get the displays.
go jump and buy one of those displays.
I would never think to ask about, can I buy the displays? But that's a good,
I didn't
good idea.
Either, but when I walked in and they had it, they said everything is for sale, including the shelves. I was like, wait a second. I wonder if those are, and I think there was like 3 left. And so I jumped on it at the time knowing that I wasn't going to get another opportunity to buy one of those. And so here we are. Now we're play.
Yeah. The paint that I have for dry brushing is a little bit on the wet side, so I'm like trying to air it out and just use my scrap piece of paper to kind of like dry it out some more. We shall see. Let me see.
You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you.
I feel like it's way too watery. I need to. Oh, it does this like magic thing where it's like you think you're applying it light, and then like it reappears a lot more opaque than you think. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
That's the magic of paper towels, though, is you can like blot. I keep putting my hand in water and keep thinking I'm going to mess up my piece here. How with the images that you make on something like this is just something you're making for fun, right?
Yeah.
Is there when you work on something for a book, is there a different process that you go through? Like, and I use as an example, when I'm working on a book, I sometimes have multiple spreads that I work on at one time. So I'm sort of like, my desk has this rotation of images that pop on it. And so I'm like working on the background on 10 different spreads.
Oh, yeah.
time, etc. But or do you work on sort of a singular image like this until it's done, and then move on to the next thing?
When it comes to gouache, if I'm working on multiple spreads, the most I can probably do is like 2 or maybe 3, but I feel like that just ends up just being too much for me, where it's just like I just need to focus on like one image right now. So it can get a little bit too overwhelming. It's just so I prefer like one at a time and just finishing it if I can.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to do 2 at a time just because I'm like I need to at least start the background here, and while this is drying, I can work on this section or something.
And you said going back a little bit here, but you
Yeah.
said your husband is in the. I'm sorry, what industry was he again? He was.
He does a few things. So he's a brand director, but he also does short films of his own writing and directing. So
Have you starred in those films?
I'm sorry?
Have you starred in any of those films?
Oh no, you will not really find me on camera like this, doing this live demo, and like that's probably the most I will ever do. But I have done the short film poster for him, which is kind of a fun assignment, I guess. So that I've done posters for him of his short films.
But you're not going to be on screen.
No.
And or
I don't even, I barely like pictures of myself.
wait, you have a headshot though, right? Are you okay with your headshot?
That's for professional purposes.
You have to have one, so that's
You have to have one because a lot of, I feel like I've always asked for a headshot for my books because either they're promoting something or they want to include it in the book. I don't know if they included it in. I feel like it's mostly used for marketing purposes.
yeah. I mean, I have a headshot, but it's like it's yes, it's very controlled what I allow be the headshot.
Yeah.
There's plenty of photos of me out there that I don't want out in the world that are out in the world.
How often do you update your headshot?
Not very often. I've done it. I'm trying to think. Like, when's the last time I did it? A couple summers ago. So it's
Okay.
pretty like 2-3 years somewhere in there. I'm probably due for another one. But I also like I don't change much anymore. So like visually, I have a set costume. Or I don't have like I it's not going to change from this year to next.
Mhm.
I don't go through anything of that sort. Why? How often are you changing yours?
I've only done the one professional headshot, and my friend did that. But I feel like that's even starting to get older. Like I'm looking at it, I'm like, I should update it. So it's probably about 4 to 5 years old. So I think that might be the lifespan. I mean, there's people that have very
Oh,
old ones, but
yes. There are people that have been using one for 20 years. I mean,
maybe.
at the beginning of my time, I was using one that was like 10 years earlier. And then I noticed that like I looked like I was a baby in it. Like I have since grown facial hair. I've
Oh my
since
god.
like there's all sorts of reasons why it looked very, very antiquated at that point. And so in that sense I have changed it, but it's there's not as much of a need anymore because I'm locked in. I've hit that age, and I don't know if this makes any sense, but I've hit that age where it's just like not much is going to change anymore.
Fair.
I'm pretty set in my way, and
That's funny.
yeah, I'm not gonna dramatically come in one day and just have a totally different hairdo or something of the sort.
Gotcha.
I'm old man settled in. I have a costume.
I like that you call it a costume. It's not an
Yeah,
outfit, it's a costume. So it's like,
it makes it easy for the students to dress up as me for Halloween if they need to.
do you get that a lot?
I've had that. I've had it as
Really?
well. Yes.
Wow.
Um, and they look nothing like me because they're young and spry and are not decrepit and falling apart in the same way. But they, if you have a distinct look, they will find a way to mimic it
Oh,
of some
that's
sort.
so funny. I don't know what my distinct look would be. It's I feel like I come in with like a t-shirt and comfortable jeans.
That's probably way more healthy of a look. I have a literally like I wear the same type of shirt, the same type of pants, the same type of everything on a regular basis, and so there's not much like as long as they can land something close enough to that, then they're good. But also part of it is just ease. Like I'm not looking to rock the boat at this time and be the cool hip person.
Gotcha.
I've crossed that threshold. I don't know how far you are from the age of your students, but I have crossed the threshold where I'm the age of their parents easily,
I see.
and so like there's less interest on my part on trying to be like their pal, and
I
instead
see.
just be old man Hoffman.
I
Tell him what for.
feel like, well, I'm millennial, and so my students are mostly Gen Z-ish, I think. So,
Yeah. Are you
so
mid millennial? Are you old millennial? That's such
um,
a the
80, what is 87?
you were born in
1980, 1987.
That's got to be. I mean, that's like when was the cutoff? I think 1980 was the cutoff of Gen X, or maybe it was a little bit before. It may have been 79. And so you're like mid.
Okay.
That's my theory. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would be.
I
Uh,
recently reacquired my Pokemon cards from my parents' house.
okay, yes, you are definitely mid uh, uh, millennial at that case.
Mid millennial,
Yeah,
which I was like, and so like I don't know what anything's worth nowadays. So I was showing my nephews, well, my nephew and yeah, I have two nephews and niece, and they're just like, "What? You have these?" So it's kind of funny.
you were you became the
I
cool.
don't know if it was a cool thing, but it was definitely just like, I didn't know you had these, or like maybe they're thinking like I'm like rich in Pokemon cards.
How'd you end up with these? These are classics. And you're like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Um,
Which I'm like, I don't know what any of these are worth, but I just remember collecting them as a 12-year-old.
I mean, there's people still collecting them. My son does.
Oh
I know
yeah.
I know there's people that are of a certain age range that still like play it, even though they are probably too old to be playing it, some sort. But what was your favorite Pokemon?
Well, I definitely have a Charizard, which is like the fire breathing dragon one. So I
Yeah,
have one of those. I feel like I would probably gravitate toward that. But I also like the plant one, the Bulbasaur one, which um, makes sense because I love plants. I'm like, okay, that still holds up.
I don't know any of them. I know there's one that looks a little bit like a rock with just arms.
Oh, what was the name of that? See, I'm already forgetting a lot of the names. Was it? Maybe
Yeah,
somebody might be able to tell us
I
because
couldn't
I
tell
can't
you.
remember.
My son, if he's upstairs listening, he can probably yell it down to me, and
Yeah.
he knows them all. But yeah, there's one that has like it's a rock with big
I,
muscly arms and has no legs, and I
I
think
know I could see it, but I can't remember the name.
it's it's
Somebody,
it's not worth the effort, to be honest.
yeah, fair.
It's probably some silly name that doesn't. They're all sort of silly in their own way. I know my son was going through and weighing out all the different like types of Pokemon they are, and so there's like I forget what the ones that he was saying, but like there's a, a I don't know like a two jointed Pokemon, and there's a such and such Pokemon, and there were all these weird titles that
Oh, interesting.
I'm
I had to get back into it because I totally don't remember anything or why we were all so into them.
wait, were you of the age range where like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was the thing too.
Yes. So that probably was like when I was like maybe kindergarten or first grade, and I seem to remember watching it like as a little kid.
Yeah. Okay. This is again. It's. I'm not. I know your age now because you said 87, but
Yeah.
I was trying not to ask. But now
That's I have no problem mentioning it.
yeah.
Maybe in a few years I'll be like, oh, I'm not gonna say it, but I don't know.
So what
I
you have
say
40.
my age. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Once you get to 40, it's like don't talk about
But
age.
I don't. To be honest, I want to be old anyway. It's not an issue for me. Um, I'm like excited about being old. But I know that there are thresholds that some people do
Gotcha.
not enjoy, and I feel like that's one of them. Is that 40-year-old um,
Oh, interesting.
over over the hill kind of age range
I see.
comes into. But then you get my age and you're way past the hill, and I
Oh,
don't.
fun.
I'm just being nonsensical at this point. Um, let me try.
Okay. I'm doing some line work on top of the donkey image. I feel like this arm here I drew a little wonky, and I was like, well, I'll figure it out as I paint it. So I've now gotten to that point. So let's see if I could actually do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to. So we got half an hour left, and I have so much still left to do. I got one, two, basically done, almost three,
Wow.
but I have all the people left to put in, which is a whole nother thing to give scale and the dashed line. So I may not get it all done. I'm going to see what I can do here and get as close as I can uh, without losing the plot of sorts. Let me put
This
little.
arm is probably off, but I think it'll be okay.
I think.
Like my anatomy is probably wrong. Like this feels like it's probably broken.
Are you ever going to do the donkey walk again?
The donkey what?
The donkey walk?
Oh, do it again. Oh, I would love to. I feel like because we did it early in the morning, which was beautiful because you get to see the sunrise. I might want to do it for the sunset, which would be really cool. But it was such a cool experience, just being out in like it was this December, so it was kind of like crisp, chilly, but like because it's Southern California, it's still like super sunny.
Yeah, what's crisp chilly in Southern California? Like 70 degrees?
It was well early morning with between probably like 60s or so, and because you're like in the mountains, it might be a little bit colder.
This is we're in the neck of the woods where once it hits about 60 degrees, people start wearing shorts. And I remember I grew up in Minnesota, and there was a point where basically it would be like 40 degrees, and people would start to wear shorts because it was just we were so pent up from being in the snowy indoors for so
Oh
long.
yeah.
And all it took was slight a slight bit of sun, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "It's so beautiful and warm out."
Eh.
Um, with the since you're out in that range, do you go to in LA?
Do I go to what?
SEBWI in LA?
Oh, I'm a member of I'm a member, but I haven't been to any of the chapter meetups, and I get emails for them all the time. But eventually, I want to go to one of them because I know the headquarters is in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, which I think is weird, being such an industry in New York. I think
Right. I
that's
mean,
in LA, but so be it.
I definitely want to go to the the event that they do in January. Oh gosh.
The one in New York.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would love to, I want to go to that one hopefully next year. But because I've been like I should go to that because it seems really exciting.
Yeah, I've never actually been to the New York one. We have the New England one, which is brings in the same like New York folks, uh,
Okay.
just because it's close enough. And so I've only been to those, and I haven't gone since the pandemic, to be honest. But they started it up again, an in-person one, and so I need to get back into it at some point.
Oh, how cool.
But I'm also you're at a point where you should be applying to teach at it, and
Oh, well, that's very nice of you to say.
well, you
Oh,
can do that. You can actually go out there and make money enjoying the wealth of the SCBWI fortune, and that's around there.
that's cool. Yeah, I just like I've known about it for a few years, but and I've just recently like signed up for it because I'm like, well, I should be doing this because it's my industry. But I haven't really delved into much of any of it, so I'm like, okay, I gotta do that.
My next goal with my wife is we're going out to Bologna as our big sort of venture, and we're saving up, and it's going to be a little bit before we go, but that's the like I'd do that before I went to New York, even just because the ability to get out to Italy sounds so fun.
That sounds really cool. I might more or less finish this.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, I don't know. The only thing left is the bandana, and unless I want to keep working out the face a little bit, I kind of want to just let it be.
I mean, I don't think there's much to it. Yeah, it looks pretty solid.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm like, oh, that's actually, I finished more than I thought I could, which is always a plus. Okay. I'm sorry?
I'm at a point where I'm just trying to cruise on this and get it to a level that is passable before the thing runs out. We still have 24 minutes, so we're still
Okay.
quite a bit, but it's still.
Well, I'll finish the bandana in that case. I'm gonna go with red, although originally I had blue, but I don't know.
I like. If you did blue, I feel like it needs to be. Well, no, a red, like a terracotta red.
Oh yeah, like a little bit more earthy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take some of my orange Lace Deep and mix it with some burnt sienna then. See what happens. Oops.
How do you choose colors?
I feel like I've just learned how to mix colors and just know their properties. It's hard to, like, I think of the color wheel, like a general color wheel, and I'm like, okay, if I want it to be more warm, I want to add more earthy colors. And my go-to is always like a burnt sienna because I know it will warm it up just enough.
But like with the green that you threw in there, was there a reason that linden green was
I just like that color a lot. I don't.
like that was intentional to like, oh, this is going to represent this, that, or the other?
How did I'm trying to think. I think I tried a few versions of it, and then like the more I kind of played around with the values and saturation, I'm like, oh, I'm liking it really bright, like this bright green. So that's how I approached it, where it's just like I'll start with a version of it and then just make tweaks as I kind of work out the image some more.
It's one of those colors that reminds me of Fiesta wear,
Oh, yeah.
which I think is like probably appropriate for
Yeah.
matter and whatnot.
It's just such a cool color. I like want to see it more. Oh, shoot.
This thing is busy. All right. Find ways to get this done. So tell me a little bit about, I mean, obviously you're choosing colors based on sort of what interests you, but there's also some theory that's in there. Like you're not just choosing any old color. And so like when you came to this, you had the potential for a blue sky and the trees to be pink and all these different sort of variations. And so is there, or like looking at the work that you do, some of it's realistic, but some of it's also a little fantastical in its aesthetic or what have you. Is there some like thought process in picking colors early on, as far as like the um, the play or the silliness of what you're?
I guess for me, I just like I like think so. I'll look at something like the desert thing, and like you're naturally you want to go towards like the blue sky and like the browns and dirts. But it's like, how do I push this more? And I feel like that's just by it comes from observing how Mary Blair applies color. It's like think of something that's maybe the opposite of it, but kind of still keep it grounded in the desert theme. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's just like being playful with color and just thinking outside of the box. And also colors that I just like, because I'm like, oh, I love like kind of weird greens that kind of look like puke color.
Mm-hmm. That's the reason why I like that linen green. It is not your standard green. It's got a little um, nuclear sort of thing going on with it.
Yeah, it's like an acid wash of some
Yeah,
sort.
it's meant to be a little fantastical in the color itself, and the I'm looking, yes, the terracotta color, so good.
Yeah. So that one I mixed the burnt sienna with the orange Lake Deep, which is like a reddish
Yeah,
orange. And then I mixed it with a little bit of white in there, so just to bring out some of that opacity. Because I feel like mixing those other two makes it really deep. And I just want it to stand out a little bit more.
what I don't understand is with Holbein, because that's the Lake Deep is the Holbein color, right?
Winsor Newton.
It is a
Or
Winsor.
it's orange Lake Deep. I have it right. I'm holding up right now. There we go.
So
Yeah.
there's the term lake, and then there's like in Holbein they have ice, and they have ash, and they have all these different like terminology. But like the word lake, I know it to mean sort of a richer, deeper version of a color,
Okay. I
and
see. I didn't know that.
I think that's what that is supposed to represent of some sort. But I don't quite understand why it's called and what that means in relation to other colors. Like ice colors in Holbein are like crisp, and ash colors are sort of grayish in tone.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna pay more attention to the names next time I'm at the art
yeah,
supply.
lake must mean something somewhere, and I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But it's out there. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna get.
I do like this color a lot. I'm like, oh, so funny. Kind of matches the shirt that I'm wearing. Actually, this whole illustration matches the shirt I'm wearing, which is like a earthy red and brown striped shirt.
That's how you picked all your colors.
Maybe that's how. Yeah, I didn't think
Yeah.
of it before, but now that's it. Just comes from that.
Just predetermined by the out.
Yeah, I'm looking at this top section. I'm like, oh, I should have extended some of the Joshua trees out that way. So that's it feels a little empty there. So I'm like, oh, what should have even
Wait.
that
Oh, over there on the left.
the left. I was like, oh, it's missing something there.
You need a little like dust cloud or
Yeah, or just kind of like little speckles here and there. Or I should have done dry brush or more, or not dry brush, sponges.
yeah, it doesn't have to be a huge like event. It can be just a little thing
A texture.
that gets it there. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go over this red orange again. I feel like it came off a little light, so I want it a little bit thicker.
yeah,
But I'm actually pretty surprised I got a draft of this. I guess if I want to reapproach this painting at all at a future date, I have a study for it.
Is it now? This is just for fun. Doing anything special. In fact, you're not gonna like take this and turn it into something intentionally already. It just sort of, if it becomes something, great. If it doesn't,
Yeah. Basically, I mean, it's mostly implied. At first, I was like, oh, can it be like a desert greeting card? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
desert thing, something.
you could definitely turn it into a print, and I bet you people will buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I should send it to the owner. I was like, this is inspired by your donkeys.
And
I'm
then
sure she would get a kick out of it.
this is, yeah, what was the name of the donkey that you had?
Woofy. So it's a kind of, I think, yeah, it kind of looks like Woofy. Oh, I forgot to do the hairs. I forgot. Okay. That's what I need to do one more thing before I finish up. I was like, it looks funky. What? It's missing something, but it's missing the hairs on the spine. I'll figure that out. And fun fact about Wolfie, apparently he's the second smallest, he holds the record for the second smallest miniature donkey, which I thought was such a cool fact.
Wait, how big are these donkeys then?
They are maybe like not even 4 feet. Maybe, I mean, with the ears and whatnot, they probably reach about 4.5 feet or so. Maybe a little bit bigger. They're super cool. They look like giant dogs.
I want to see it.
I'm gonna send you the link to the donkeys after this meeting. I'll send you the Instagram account for the donkeys.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna look them up after this and see how big.
So you're gonna fall in love because they were super awesome.
But yeah, send me that link, and then that's the first thing I'm doing when I come out that way.
Oh, please do. Yeah,
Go
get
to
an
Donkey
Airbnb in Joshua Tree and schedule a donkey walk. I think you can also like picnic with them, but I think the walking is really fun.
I don't know. A picnic sounds pretty good now that you mentioned. We when I went to Ireland to teach for something, there was a spot in town where there were these donkeys that just I don't know, cohabited with everybody. It was, and so you could go at a certain time of day, and they'd be in this sort of public grassy area, and you could just feed them. And we called it Donkey Town.
Oh.
And we later found out that they were named certain things, like certain names, but it was so nice. Like basically at sunset, you could go and just feed donkeys every day.
That's so cool.
And the owners were like good with it. You didn't have to argue with them and say, "Can I please see your donkeys?" And they also owned a miniature pony that was on the side of the road that you could just walk along and go visit. And, oh,
that sounds awesome.
I want to go back and see donkeys. Okay.
So I'm just mentioning real quick. I'm using tape to kind of do the hairs here. I should have done this before painting this giant shape, but I'm using a piece of tape to kind of help. But that kind of helps mask or block it out, so that way I can do this dry brush hair. I don't know.
Oh, I see what you say. I see. Yeah. So
there's a piece of tape. And I just use Scotch magic tape for that.
I got it. I was like, I was watching.
Just in case I don't know if anybody's tuning in right now, but I'm just like, should probably explain that.
Yeah. There are people tuning in. There are people who care.
I just can't see. Like the camera is like away from me, so I'm like, I think I hear a voice. It's obviously Mark's voice. And yeah.
Besides just me, but yes, there are those folks that need the lesson on sort of how this all works.
Yeah, and I'm always very like upfront as to what I use. So if anybody's always asked me like, hey, what kind of paper do you use? I'm really transparent about my material. So
it's that's the teacher part of you right there. How did they ask you to come back and be the teacher, like because there was an opening? Did you apply for something?
Yeah, no, I got a request from the department chair. First, she sent out a feeler if I was interested, and I was like, I was, because it sounded interesting to me. And then I was asked to apply. Like they still took the steps needed to that I had to do as far as like submitting a resume and listing all these different awards or things that I've done to date to and that I'm guessing that helped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would you won
So
enough awards and had enough professional experience that
yeah.
it was a no-brainer at that point to get you
Yeah.
on board. Do you think you'll do it for a long time, or do you think it's something that sort of
I hope
it?
so. I mean, I like having my practice as far as like working on children's books. So it's a matter of finding that right balance where it's like I'm still working professionally but also teaching on the side.
Yeah,
It's nice to have that just because it kind of keeps you um it keeps I like the community aspect of it, and also it's like I like sharing things and also like understanding the pulse of like what's going on in the like people just starting off.
yeah. That's the thing that like some illustrators talk about that idea of like um, not um, or being stuck in their studio and whatnot. And I will say that the one thing that comes out of teaching is you get to actively participate with people on a regular basis and
Yeah,
sort of get out of the studio
for
in
sure.
a way, which is lovely. Um,
You mentioned you're off right now, but usually on a what's your schedule like as far as teaching?
well, I don't. Yeah, I don't teach during the summer, but I teach. I'm also a chair at the school, so I oversee sort of half the school's student body and faculty and whatnot. And so I I get a course release because of that, which means that I am really going in to teach only two classes, but I'm also going into meetings all the time for various things because of that position. I have responsibilities
Okay.
beyond just teaching, and so
Yeah.
I have like have to do accreditation stuff that I have to be part of. I have to do scheduling and budget stuff and
Uh,
basically repping the school in a bunch of different ways. And so I would say probably 50% of my workload is class, and the other 50% is the extracurricular odds and ends. And it's
okay.
I enjoy it, but it's definitely um, it's a different thing than teaching all the time.
Yeah. No,
But
that makes sense. There's a lot of work that isn't always seen.
yes, yes, very very true. There's a lot of, I mean, even just as a teacher, I know that I spent more time doing stuff out of the classroom than I did in the classroom. Just because there's so much prep and things of the sort and getting people up
Oh,
to.
totally. Like
Um,
I need to think of my demos for tomorrow. um,
do this.
yeah, I was thinking of doing talking about transparencies and making gouache like act like watercolor. It's like
Um,
when you're creating like washy backgrounds and whatnot.
I mean, you might
I
do
don't.
something. There's additives that, like, can you draw back on top of stuff? Um, that's one of the advantages of gouache compared to some of the other, like, acrylic, etc. But I'm trying to think of, like, what I've done for gouache in the past.
Yeah.
I've done mean assignments. Like, when I was in college, the assignment they used to give us was you have to, um, I've said this on here before, so anybody that's heard this before, please forgive. But um, one of the assignments they would give us is that you had to slice a cabbage in half, trace out a whole portion of that cabbage, and paint it so it looked like the cabbage, but also you couldn't have any flat. I was like brushwork, and it was like this really strict treatment. And no one like gouache all that much when we were in school. It's not the go-to medium. And then got out, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can do other things with gouache.
Yeah. I mean, you can make a whole illustration. Yeah, just based off line work and making it look flat if you wanted.
Yeah, there was a lot of like, um, I think training that was happening that potentially was that drove people away from it as a medium. I mean, it's a medium of today versus a medium of yesteryear. Um, I think people have really gravitated towards it as a like the medium of choice, whereas acrylic used to be the thing back in the 90s that people were using much more predominantly in that situation. So I forgot one of these eyes.
Yeah.
I just realized I forgot to put eyes on the the canoe. And he should be looking this way. I have to think which way I want him to look.
Okay.
Downstream. Here we go.
I think I'm going to call a
Okay,
piece.
here's what I'm gonna just finish off the eye here. I'm gonna do a tiny little touch of color on one thing, and then what I need to do is I need to do something that's probably not super exciting for people, but I need to draw little people in this situation in just a second. But I can do that after the fact. And just make sure I got all the stuff I want to get done in here that makes sense.
Super cool.
Pretty
Try to
good.
center now that I can see the camera.
Yeah. So we're getting there. I need to hit more spots of this yellow around there, and I need to put little figures. So I had like, I don't know if you, I had little people to give scale.
Oh, cool.
So I just need to put those in and a few little shadows and things of the sort underneath. But
will that be in pencil?
Actually, yes, that's a good way to do it. Yes, thank you.
Okay. I was curious. I was like, oh, I kind of like the pencil look to
No,
it.
that's perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch back to my face.
Okay. All right. I should probably do the same myself. Hang on, I have to familiarize myself. Can I do it?
All glamorous.
Oh, I can do it. Okay. Ooh. Hi. Okay, there I am.
Hello.
Headshot.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been lovely.
Thank you. That was really fun. I was like really nervous at first. I was like, oh, I haven't done like a live painting event like with through social media. So that was really fun.
It's super simple. It's the idea is just the I guess the idea started originally. I don't know if you went all the way back to the beginning, but the idea started with just having an opportunity to chat with someone during the pandemic, and then it turned into we're gonna have a bunch of kidlit people on and talk business and whatnot. But then it also is just meant to be like, hey, we're studio partners. We're chatting in the background as we work.
Yeah, that was fun. I have paint on my hands, which is nice, and I'm gonna go wash them and put some lotion on.
Yeah, there you go. So this has been lovely. I appreciate you taking the time with us. And is there anything that you would like to plug at the end for anybody that's out there?
I don't think I need to plug anything. I mean, I guess if you're interested in my work, follow me. Also, children's books make great gifts, so reviewing those online even is a great thing you can do.
What's the most recent book that's come out, or what's the next book to come out?
Okay, so I actually do have a book coming out. I should. What am I talking about? I do have something to plug. The sequel to ABCs of 1, 2, 3s is coming out. I'm getting the title wrong because I'm like in a different mode. But
DEF.
So 1, 2. I'll bring it. Hang on.
Okay.
The 1, 2, 3 is of Baby's Knees, which is an ASL board book, is coming out next week. So and it has all these wonderful illustrations created by me, and it has different ways to show the sun. So that's my plug. I actually didn't have something to plug.
Hey! Okay, so my only request is if you post this, the piece that you made, is it tag me in it so I can see the finish as it's posted, and I'll do the same on this once I get it all digitally cleaned up.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a picture. I'll even scan it too. But yeah,
that'd be lovely. Thank you
so much, and thank you all for tuning in.
Okay, bye. All
right, bye.
Real quick before everybody leaves, next week we have on Gail Galligan. They are in the Kidlit world, specifically in the graphic novel world. So they've done a bunch of books for the Babysitters Club. For anybody that's a Babysitters Club fan, they've done graphic novels for that. They did one of their more recent ones. I don't remember. Is this the most recent one? The Fresh Start. I'm trying to remember if this one is 2025. There you go. So Gail's going to be on. Gail is is there a picture of Gail? I thought there was a picture of Gail in one of these. I could be wrong. Oh, there you go. In the back of this one. Gail is going to be joining us, and they are lovely. And then look back. There is, I believe that one's at 8 p.m. It said on the monthly ad the wrong time, so just be mindful that it's actually 8 p.m. That's going to be next Thursday. Otherwise, you all go have a lovely evening. I'm going to finish up with, I got to finish on this, and I will post it accordingly. All right, bye, everybody.